party going till the break of dawn. From the warehouse to the rave spot, keep the vibe strong. Keep the party going till the break of dawn. I'm a house head, I'm a raver, I'm a bass head, I'm a snow. Music, my religion, it's a message from beyond. I'm a house head, I'm a raver, I'm a bass head, I'm a snow. Music, my religion, it's a message from beyond. Yo, with my wordplay, check what I say.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the NA Pro Report. My name is Millicrit, here to bring you your weekly coverage of the biggest players and the biggest plays in North American Free Fire. It's a bit of a bittersweet moment in the tournament as our group stage has fully concluded. Our 24 group stage teams have battled it out across 4 weeks trying to earn points to continue their tournament runs. So don't fret, we have plenty of action left to go. Our last chance qualifier goes down this weekend and the grand finals after that, where we're playing for $50,000 and a first shot for NA in the Free Fire World Series. So definitely really exciting. Let's talk about the teams that are making it straight into the grand final. These are the top 8 squads from our Season 2 group stage that are skipping right over the LCQ to fight in the finals. Starting with Osaka in 8th place, holding the line for the top 8 just barely. Our returning Season 1 squad had some pretty decent performances and were able to pick up a couple of very nice games that put them just in the top 8. And remember, our grand finals resets all the points, so the group stage and LCQ don't matter. Once you are in the grand finals, everyone has a clean slate to perform at their highest level, so Osaka, definitely one of the squads to watch. In 7th place, we had USA Esports. They were a very good squad to watch, but in the middle of the tournament, they were definitely shaky with a 20-point game day at one point, not instilling confidence in me or really the rest of the Free Fire Pro Series scene. But they were able to pick it up and they were able to find their way into the top 8, so congratulations to them. I'm excited to see what they can do in the finals. In 6th place, we've got Club 9D falling a couple of ranks. A very consistent squad. I loved watching the way that they handled the rings, but unfortunately they didn't have a very kill-heavy playstyle, and right now the meta is definitely kills, kills, kills. So they were winning a lot, definitely, especially on Kalahari, where at one point they had a 100% win rate across 4 games. Absolutely insane. So we'll see if they can step it up a little bit in the kill department for the grand finals. They're going to have to step it up if they want to keep up with some of the top squads that we'll be seeing in that final. So Club 9D, congratulations. In 5th place, we got Virus Gaming. I had a lot of high expectations for Virus Gaming, and they definitely delivered. Starting off a little bit cooler than I expected, but in week 3, they stepped it up with 116 points in a single game day. The highest single game day performance out of any team in the tournament. Virus Gaming looked so hot on that weekend, and they will be rolling in hot to the grand finals. Congratulations, Virus Gaming. Atomic, with returning champ Abreu on that squad, was also looking really clean, and they needed a big week 4 to make sure that they cemented their spot straight into the finals. They did exactly that in week 4 off the back of not just Abreu, but we had some pretty nice games from Dax and of course their top kill leader Kills03 on that weekend. So congratulations to Atomic. I'm excited to see what they can do in the finals. Now we get to our top 3. We've talked about some of these squads quite a lot. Let's talk about Team 999, our 3rd place finisher. They had a lot of crazy game days, including at least one triple-digit finish. Mr. T and the crew had some crazy revive plays as well, taking full advantage of the revive mechanic that was added into our group stage. So Team 999, I'm really just curious to see how they're going to stack up once all of the top teams from all of the lobbies end up in the same place. In 2nd place, Fuego. Fuego kept it so hot throughout the tournament. Specifically in the win department, they were actually the top Booyah leaders for the entire tournament, pretty much until the end. They finished with 10 total Booyahs across the entire season. Congratulations, Fuego. A very explosive team to watch with a very clean play style that I think is going to have a lot of success in the grand finals. But in 1st place, sounding like a broken record at this point, beating a dead horse, whatever you want to call it, Pisar Esports. Just 1st place across the entire group stage. What more is there to say? There's no stat that I could pull up that could honestly top that, other than of course the fact that they were top killers throughout the entire tournament, and they have the top kill leader across the whole tournament as well with Adiel. So if that wasn't enough of an accolade, they were just picking it up throughout the entire tournament. They kept it not even close every time that they were in the lobby, dominating, finding wins, finding kills. The Sire Esports are returning Season 1 champions. Were just here to win again, and they might do exactly that in the grand finals. It looks like they are slated to do that. So let's check out how they progressed through the tournament and found some of these big plays on their way to the first place finish in the group stage.
They're also going to be getting backstabbed right here.
Yeah, Virus Gaming, long range now. There we go, DN Esports is down. Virus Gaming, who really did this one. Zara Esports, only one player left. Virus Gaming, one down.
It's a
To
push.
1v1 at this point. The bush comes out.
Oh!
Third party that's get involved, it's going to be the best situation. But here comes the blue zone as well. All this happening outside of zone. PZR actually looks like they're kind of trying to disengage off of this. Two of them are going to be going down up the stairs. No way, West B actually doing that all by himself there. Shut down PZR Esports. No way. Three of them now up against two. Down goes one into Jay. Let's see if he's going to be able to win this for the team or if this is going to be a PZR Esports game.
West B has had enough, and Pizan Esports has finally gotten their victory.
Now that we've gotten a chance to celebrate our top teams, we do unfortunately have to bid some teams goodbye. These are the bottom 4 teams that did not rack up enough points during the group stage to move on to the rest of the tournament stages. So we'll bid farewell to OG Wipe Gang, Tankas, Brothers YT, and Big Drip. So thank you all for joining us in the Free Fire Pro Series, but unfortunately it was just too stacked and there was a lot of talent that ended up going by the wayside, will be eliminated, but we hope to see all of these teams return with a vengeance. There was a lot of talent and I can't wait to see what they will do in the next season of the Free Fire Pro Series. That leaves us with our last chance qualifier teams. This weekend we have the last chance qualifier, the final opportunity for these teams to earn a spot in the grand finals to fight for that $50,000 prize pool and that shot at the Free Fire World Series as well. Reminder that there are 12 teams in the last chance qualifier and only 4 will earn a spot in the finals. So let's go through them real quick. Definitely a lot of names you're going to recognize. DN Esports, Navy Esports, IT Official, ZRJ, R15, Rambox Gaming, 1A Esports, Hags, La ONU, Zundel, SKB, and last but not least, Dual Kings. Be sure to tune in to all of those broadcasts live Saturday and Sunday starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, 6 games per day. You don't want to miss it. This will be the last chance for you to watch some of these teams fight it out and try to stake their claim to the grand final slots. I hope to see you all there, and I'll catch you guys next week for the following report.
Hi Survivors, welcome to Season 2 of the Free Fire Pro Series. We're back to bring you more action, more talent, and even more booyahs for the best teams in North America. On top of a whopping $50,000 prize pool and the bragging rights of being crowned the FFPS Grand Champion, this season the winners will also earn the first ever North American invite to the Free Fire World Series. But before they get there, teams will have to fight their way through a grueling 2-month tournament, including an open qualifier, group stage, last chance qualifier, and grand finals. The action started earlier this month with the open qualifier, where 192 teams from all across North America joined the FFPS for the first stage of the tournament. Each qualifier round featured 6 games, where teams earned points based on their in-game performance, including their placement and their kills in the 12-team lobbies. Only teams in the top half of their lobby moved through each of the qualifying rounds, making their way through the round of 192, the round of 96, and the round of 48. The bottom 6 teams from the Season 1 Grand Finals joined the top 30 from the round of 48 and the last open qualifier round, the round of 36. The 18 teams left standing from the final round earned their spots in the group stage. For the group stage, the top teams from the open qualifier will be joined by even more invited teams from Season 1. The top 6 teams from the Season 1 Grand Finals will qualify straight into a 24-team group stage, alongside the open qualifier teams from Season 2. Teams will be split up into groups of 6, and these groups will face off in a double round-robin format where each group will battle each other in a 12-team lobby twice. This stage will take place across 4 weeks, with 3 game days per week. In the end, the top 8 teams will punch their tickets straight to the finals. The 9th through 20th place teams will earn one last shot in the last chance qualifier, and the bottom 4 teams will be eliminated from the tournament. The last chance qualifier will be a 2-day gauntlet where teams that fail to qualify from the group stage will get their last chance to earn a place in the finals and fight for the title of FFPS Grand Champion. 12 games will give the top 4 teams a shot in the finals, while the remaining teams will be eliminated. The Grand Finals will pit the top 12 teams in North America against each other in a 3-day event. 6 games per day for a total of 18 games will be played for teams to claim their piece of the $50,000 prize pool and for a Grand Champion to be crowned. Which squad will reign supreme and get their chance to represent North America in the World Series? Tune in to find out.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Free Fire Pro Series. It's finally time for the last chance qualifiers. We had a long group stage, 4 weeks long in fact, and now we got our 8 teams that are going straight through into the finals, but we're here to find out what 4 teams are going to join them. We've got 12 teams in this bracket, and we're going to be seeing how many of them can get the points they need to get through. You know, the group stages, they were an endurance race. This one is all about getting to the finish line as quick as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So it should be a good one. And it's a little bit of a change in pace that we get to see. Like you said, very long weeks for those group stages. And now a lot of quick action that has to happen, a lot of quick adjustments, if anything, for teams for this last chance qualifier to classify for those grand finals. Should be a good one, an exciting one, and one where teams want to start with the right pace, with the right momentum to see how far they can get. A lot of these teams in the last chance qualifier, very inconsistent in some days, some matches that they have to face, but this is a time where all that consistency has to be the key for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's 6 times less maps that we're going to play. So with 2 days, that's two days of gameplay, which is less than one of the weekends that we had in the group stage. So as we had 12 different game days in the group stage, we're only on 2 today, tomorrow. That's it. We're all done after that, and we're going to see just the top 4 teams get through, not the top 8 this time. We're going to see 8 of these teams eliminated from this stage of the tournament, so really important for everybody to get started as quick as possible. Our first map, obviously, Bermuda, as always. I mean, there are some teams that we expect to do well on this map, but there are also, you know, teams that we expect to do well overall. Navy, of course, who did incredibly well, so close to getting through to the finals stage. but they got overtaken in the end. Another team like DN Esports, who were in that top 8 for a large amount of the last day and just got knocked out slightly by other teams who were pushing through on that one. Lots of teams that got out of the bottom 4 as well. So really expecting everybody to be reinvigorated coming into this one. It's a complete reset of the scores, and everybody really needs to get as much as they can out of every map.
It's also a little bit of the teams that we've seen throughout be a little bit more consistent, like you said, of DN being one of them, but also the teams that last week even were surprising us with different strategies and things that were working out really well for them. And the team that I'm thinking of, for example, is going to be Sundell. They were fighting to make it to the top. They were fighting to get to the last chance qualifier. They guarantee it. And now what do they do after? They have the potential. They were getting those booyahs last week. So it's resetting a little bit of that mentality, seeing what was working out and seeing how they can implement it today as well. And you have such a big advantage, right? We are not going to see those Pizarro, those Fuego teams, the Team 999, those that have always been at the top, stealing those booyahs, stealing those kills. So it should be a little bit more even across the board for the teams that are going to be playing today.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about Zundela Esports, who were in that bottom 4 for pretty much the whole group stage, and on the last day, their best performance of the whole tournament, and actually they were 4th best in that day out of every team that was participating in that day. Absolutely brilliant to get themselves out of the danger zone there. In fact, getting ahead of Skullbreakers and Duel Kings, as you can see, who were very close to getting knocked out. OG Wipe Gang in that last game of the day really tried their best to knock Duel Kings back down into the bottom 4. Didn't quite happen. So Duel Kings, Skullbreakers, they have a lot to try and get forward in this one. A lot to prove to everybody else. Maybe we're at the bottom of the teams that got into this next stage of the tournament, but we can do just as well as you, especially like DN Esports, Navy Esports, who are really the expected teams to get through of this stage.
And again, like I said, you're not going to have those teams at the top who are always, let's say, stealing those kills from everyone else in the mid-table. So you have the opportunity to pop off a little bit more to benefit those teams that like the very early aggression, and that sometimes is very hit or miss if it's going to work or not, because the positionings and the drop spots for the teams at the top were always changing. So now when you take those teams, you have drop spots who are going to feel a little bit more secure. They can guarantee those kills early on and have the benefit that can come through those victories and those booyahs, those kills as well. Everything with that point system that is benefiting the teams today so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about that. It's these teams that have done so well over this whole time that are taken out of the equation now. It really puts the onus on everybody else in this one. Obviously, you look at Fuego, who are the only team of Group C that aren't in the last chance qualifiers right now. 5 out of 6 teams in Group C just got relegated to the last chance qualifiers, have to fight their way through this one. Navy Esports being the closest to the top, but you've also got ZRJ, R15 official, who didn't play in their last day of competition there. And, these teams that have had their points stolen day after day after day after day by such a good team as Fuego, suddenly they have that little bit less pressure to take out that amazing team early on in the game. They can try and just push for points against each other this time.
Absolutely, and it seems like that first match is about to be ready, and it's the pressure that the teams have as well, right? Not as many can qualify for another last chance qualifier to qualify for those grand finals. It's only going to be 4 teams, so there's even more pressure to perform to a really high level, especially in the first Bermuda map.
Yep, as we're going into game here, we're just waiting for all of the teams to be ready. You can see, though, the screen is yellow, which means we're just about to head in. Yeah, I mean, there are some teams that we're definitely expecting to do really well here on Bermuda. I can't remember. I need to recheck over the notes here, but I think it was Navy Esports who have an absolutely brilliant little record on there. One of their players with, I think, an average placement of about 2 on Bermuda. So these guys definitely one of the teams we're looking out for on this one, especially just after their last few days of performance, where they really made that push for the top spot, for that top 8, and just didn't quite make it. But they're the closest team from Group C to be able to get there.
It's Navy and DN, the teams that I'm going to be looking at, especially, like you said, the teams that almost got to the top 8, but the last opportunities that they had, they started going down and down until they had to fight for the last chance qualifier. So those 2 teams, the teams that were at the top, I feel like also IT Esports is a team that we got to talk a lot about on that last week. They were putting a pretty good performance, but it was also one that sometimes really seemed to be inconsistent. they would make it to the very, very end, or they would get taken down in early fights where it seems like they weren't even planning.
Yeah. You can see all the drops here. A little bit of a hot drop on Sentosa. 3 teams right there. And we also saw a bit of a hot drop over to the left side of the clock tower area, I think it was. 1A Skullbreakers. I think another team were over there as well. Right now we're just watching Rambox, who are over towards the south side of Sentosa, looking for some loot. But they, I think they got kind of pushed out of that area by ZRJ and Laonu, who did drop more towards the center of Sentosa. They have to make a long rotation happen. Right on top of an airdrop location. That's probably what they're heading towards. Meanwhile, Navy and DN Esports, the 2 teams at the top, the 2 teams we mentioned, these guys are both teams we're going to expect to get a lot of points. And if they knock each other out earlier on in the game, that's going to mean one of them isn't going to be getting a lot of points whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. The patience that so far can be playing through for all of these teams. We see quite a lot of pressure towards the north, as more than anything, that information can allow them to get the kills at the first point more than anything. Also, another thing that we haven't gotten the chance to talk about today is the reliance on those revive systems that a lot of teams have fallen and benefited a lot from. But also some that really affect teams because you're going for the early engagements, you're getting taken down, you only have 1 player alive, and making it to get that revive is actually a little bit more complicated. So the patience that so far is playing through as the action already starts.
Yeah, Andisha got taken down to very low HP by a well-placed nade from one of the 1A players up top there, but they're going to start throwing some nades of their own up there. No knocks yet for either team, but with the small amount of loot that these guys both have, it's going to be very difficult to engage with each other properly. And as you said, you know, winning team fights straight away isn't the only thing that matters now. It's your ability to disengage and get out of there when you know you've lost that team fight. Be able to kind of get out of there and get those revives back up. As Duel Kings, they're going to make Skullbreakers make a tough decision here. Skullbreakers were really looking to get in on 1A, timing their attack on those guys well, but Duel Kings get involved quickly. A team that has a lot to prove going into this one, placing 20th overall in our group stage. So they are starting things off well.
Yeah, the clock tower being contested from so early on in 1A with a little bit of high ground can really make the difference here. It really already caused the side of Skullcracker to back up to get a little bit more space for Skullbreaker, but now you're going to be playing it. You're going to continue having this high ground to work with.
Firing down now on top of Duel Kings, who scared away Skullbreakers, but not so much 1A. I mean, there's not anywhere they can really go on this one. That's a difficult location. As DN Esports and Navy both just vying for a little bit of control of Observatory here. They both have a long way to move. This is the exact opposite side of the map to the new zone, to the first zone. So that means the, well, I mean, the zone is going to be moving about as quickly as it possibly could, although it's not very fast in this first stage of the game. So they will definitely be able to get out of here, but it's more about whoever makes that first move is going to be fired upon for free. So neither of them really want to start going immediately.
Yeah, have to take just a little bit of damage, and that positioning, like you said, whoever's at the top and whoever's able to run away the fastest can really make the difference. Now they feel the pressure, trying to get just in the zone, trying to get that protection, and seeing where they're going to take this next fight.
Yeah, and towards Hangar here, I think Ramon was waiting for the rest of DN Esports to move away. As you can see, he's still back up at Observatory. I think kind of being guarded by DN Esports, just kind of waiting now. Will DN Esports leave me alone? Can I make a move quick enough, or do I have to wait this out in the zone a little longer? Navy, they're going to head over towards, well, the area we were looking at earlier with Skullbreakers 1A. Duel Kings have already moved away quickly. They want to get an early rotation in. They've got their kill. They weren't really a kill-heavy team in the group stage, so, you know, playing more for positional placements didn't work out so well for them, but keeping on that trend that they were going for last time, you can see everybody gravitating towards the southeast area of the map now.
Yeah, as we see, it's all about the west area that has quite a lot of teams, quite a lot of players with a lot of pressure that they have to deal with, right? Because like you said before, you don't want to move, you don't want to put yourself and your team in such a vulnerable position from early on, but at the end of the day, they're going to have to. And the zone really keeps going for that east area. So as we see, is DN, is Skullbreaker, as we got to see, who are staying behind, who are trying to get the kills, but so far, He's taking some damage and a lot of separation as well that we get to see between them and a couple of their members.
Yep. Rotating around slowly here. Navy just about on the edge of this one. R15 also rotating now through the middle of the map. Everybody just trying to get into this next one. No fights have really gone too aggressive so far. You know, there's much less pressure. Well, there's much more pressure, sorry, to finish off fights quickly. But teams are so good now at being able to get out of there that it's so difficult to finish off a full team. You know, you focus on one player, the rest of them start to run around or go for flanks or something like that. It's easy to lose control of the rest of the fight. And stopping people from being able to disengage and get the revive is so difficult. So we've seen no teams being wiped so far, as we see Laonu and Rambox Gaming getting involved with each other. Rambox Gaming taking the kill leader position. I'm going to fight with ZRJ earlier on. Close range, close quarters combat immediately. No knocks yet so far. Just being able to disengage slightly there, Kevin, as the rest of the team, the rest of the Laonu team, push them down. I don't think they quite have the capability to deal with this one just yet, Rambox. They're going to try and get away as quickly as possible. Laonu keeping on the attack, but 3 of their players are knocked now, and it's looking all but over for them. One more kill will finish off the rest of the team. Just trying to run rings around them now. But I mean, how much pressure can Santi put on before he's eventually taken out? Somehow still alive, retreats into the house. Now we got to wait for Rambox to finish off the rest of his teammates.
Just a nightmare being the last one here, trying to run away, but completely surrounded, trying not to get spotted too. And it is one of those scenarios that we talked about, right? You can have the res, you can have those opportunities, but actually connecting it is a lot more harder than it's a lot harder than it seems. So now all the team is forced to move faster. The action starts to take place. Soulbreaker, who were trying to run away, are caught in a fight.
Yeah, DN Esports trying to guard them. I mean, they're stuck in the zone. Sorry, Skullbreaker trying to guard DN Esports, but I don't think they were fully aware that they were coming in from behind them. DN Esports went for such a late rotation on these guys. The Skullbreaker were completely unaware that anybody could have been coming in behind them. DN Esports have taken the fight to them immediately, got one knock. And one more here could be vital to them, and they do manage to get Clubber down before he can get to the rest of his team. There's another one onto Polonki. Looking like it'll be a full team wipe with no casualties for DN Esports. Coming around the corner, playing a bit of cat and mouse here. Looking all but over. I think that is going to be the end of Skullbreaker. Down they go. Number 11 team to be taken out, and that means no placement points for these guys.
The 2 teams that we got to see, Laonu and Skullbreaker, getting taken down so early on, and it seems like it was in a position where they weren't really prepared to take on those fights, so surrounded, and not even those glow walls can protect them from the damage that was coming through. So a little bit of action as well that we get to see. The last team that seems to be fighting here are 15. They were able to have a good performance in those group stages, but now the consistency once again seems to be key for them, and they're already taking so much. They're getting taken down.
Yeah, Hags getting well involved with this fight. Both teams taking a lot of casualty here. And it is Kaskar on the left for R15 official. Trying to run away now, trying to disengage, but they're not going to let him. Panna will finish it off. It did take a lot of damage. 2 members already down, which means, I mean, they need to find somewhere to get the rest of the teams up. But with only limited options in terms of rotating around to the revive station, I mean, it's completely surrounded by everybody. 1 air right on top of it, Navy guarding it down from another location. You can see DN Esports and Duel Kings very close to it as well. They're guarding that kind of north area of it, and they're really fighting each other through the windows here.
Yeah, trying to maintain a high ground here. This grenade's connecting pretty well, almost at the time turner, allowing for that extra protection that the teams need. I mean, look at them. Everyone really so close to each other. So many fights that we can see taking place. As on the other side, Sundell, one of the teams that we got the chance to talk a lot about last week, is also looking for that fight and already also finding a little bit of engagement.
Yeah, and esports have now pushed in on Duel Kings. Duel Kings are taking the brunt of the damage here. Fatoyo goes well in. Venva getting involved as well. 1 player knocked, but they've absolutely decimated the Duel Kings defense. They jump through the window at the same time. It's like something out of Benny Hill here. Just trying to get away, Gayu. But Duel Kings will be finished off in the end, and that is not an inspiring start to their last chance qualifiers.
Yeah, and on the other side, like we mentioned, it was that Sindel who's still fighting for that contest right on top of the mountain. Oh, not so much protection that you can have, so waiting for the right time on this proper engagement for RBG. Also, one of those other teams that has some moments where they really pop off when it comes to kills, but are very hesitant in when to have that proper engagement, and right now it seems like they figure out when.
Yeah, this third ring, quite fortunate that it's not landed directly on top of the river. That made up a lot of the second ring there, but luckily landed right on the hillside next to it.
Yeah.
Does mean not a lot of hard cover to work with, but at least players aren't having to swim their way to victory here. There are so many teams left, 8 full teams almost left in this final engagement. I think there are only a couple with casualties. I think Hags obviously 1A. I think Navy might have lost a player early on as well. They all come in from different angles now. 1A and Navy right next to each other to the south. We can see DN Esports trying to vie for control of the north area here against Hags. RBG, C7. They're getting right involved with each other. It's Rambox Gaming trying to just defend from these guys here. Zundel Esports pushing in. Inside the time turner goes one member, but Samu is taken down. After taking down Jeff at the very least, Mr. Edwin gets involved. 2 casualties now for both teams. What a 180 he'll find. Lecturer there on the ground now. Easy finish for Santos. Thanks Esports in the meantime taken down by DN Esports. It's just one player of Zundel left there. Dariel.
Yeah.
Hunting down these last 3 Rambox members. I mean, they have time to heal each other up, and then they'll get involved. They've already got 9 kills.
It was a fight that also lasted so long. We saw both of the teams spawning each other from a while ago, so they were using those Google walls for protection. But by the time that it actually started, there were a lot that were invested, and it was just a decision here to push the last players that were alive from the side of Sundial finally fully taken down for the squad, so we're down to 6.
Yeah, not the worst performance from Zundel, but not exactly amazing. Not what you want to be starting off with. Now we're left with our last 6 teams. You know, at the very least, you get knocked out here. You can say you got into the top half of this first game. DN Esports not letting up the pressure. Another kill on to ZRJ. Rambox Gaming trying to keep the momentum going onto 1A Esports now. Slowly pushing in towards the 4th ring here, where Navy have a lovely position to the south. They can use the hillside as nice cover for the rest of the teams, and I mean, they're safely around here. There's nobody coming around from behind them. There's nobody who can come from the side. So they're probably quite happy with this one. Probably their biggest threat is going to be Rambox Gaming coming in from their right later on, who are now fighting IT Official. Again, Esports the kill leaders with 12 right now and trying to push for more on ZRJ.
1A with only 1 member alive here, fighting to get a little bit more, but it seems like there's no more possibilities. The damage is already done, and yeah, like you said, the position that Navy has might be the most beneficial out of the squad and the members left. 1A actually managing to stay alive here.
Yeah. Impressive from them. 1 player left in Ghost.
Wow, yeah.
Just kind of right in the middle of everything here. IT Official finally win out the fight on our last team here, Rambox Gaming. Got a lot of kills for themselves. Very impressive game for them. IT Official finally finishing them off. Now they need to get some kills on the board because they've got towards the end of the game, but they really haven't got into a fight so far. They're going to push down our last remaining 1A member now. Ghost trying to just run away. I don't think he has any glue walls to work with either. He will be taken down. But that's by Navy. I think Chino actually got the final shot off there. Chino, our best performing member on this map. An average placement of 1.5 on this one. On Bermuda here. Very impressive from Chino here. And you can see why. They play so much for position on this. Instead of going for unnecessary kills and getting way too aggressive, they're playing for nice positions. And then they get involved with the kills towards the end. It's a very consistent way of getting points.
It's something that we've seen multiple times. And this is why this player and the entire team has been able to stay at the top until the very end in so many scenarios, in this case of Bermuda. But now they have to do it again, and it's all about the map knowledge and how much is benefiting teams waiting for the last scenario to really strike and catch the enemy off guard, make a difference into this one and trying to get some extra points. For what is left remaining, there's only 3 teams, and IT already took quite a lot of damage.
Yeah, Sanji, though, did fire a shot, but Chris manages to get a finish onto MVP now. That brings IT Official down to 1 member. DN Esports were previously on 1 member. They managed to get him up. Oh, Chino and Chris both taken down by the final member, of DN Esports, but they get themselves back up once again. Now it's just 1 member left of Navy. Lewis, Sanji over in the corner there, and now it's DN Esports who have the most members alive. They're going to actually start pushing. And it looks like Lewis just waiting for this fight to finish before he gets involved. Now it might be time to third party, but they're just running down Sanji here, who is by himself and trying his best to defend from these 2 players, but it doesn't matter. Now, what can Louis do in this last fight? Spraying down. No cover to work with, though, and I'm not sure he even has any glue walls. They're just going to run him down with melee weapons. That's not going to work out. Louis gets 1. Oh, Benver manages to put up a glue wall in time. He's trying to run rings around them. Will he finish him off? It's very close, but Navy Esports are taken down, and it's DN Esports that win the first map of the day.
Really nice way to start it off here for DN. A team that we talked about at the beginning, one of the teams that have been the most consistent throughout. And it had to finish and had to start as well the day 4 today and the first map with the best way possible. And it got very intense, right? Those metal weapons trying to get some action, but it was not possible. It was just the damage connecting into almost a 1v1 that we got to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, DN Esports and Navy, interestingly, being our last 2... Actually, I think IT as well. Funnily enough, I think the results of that game perfectly mirror our 9th, 10th, and 11th places, our top 3 places coming into the LCQs here, our most points for those teams. DN Esports coming away with an absolutely amazing victory. They're going to be, I think, well in excess of 30 points on that one. I think they got well at the higher teens of kills there, plus that win. Going to do a lot for them. And Navy Esports doing so well to get to the end of the game, but really, a kind of subpar kill performance towards the end did mean that they didn't pick up too many points. Seeing the highlights in reverse here, lovely. But,
yeah.
No, absolutely great performances from these guys. An IT Official as well getting involved towards the end. Once again, one of these teams that weren't really looking to get kind of kill points, but get placement points, so they definitely got their goal there in mind. And I mean, all of these 3 teams, we expected them to do relatively well.
Yeah.
They're top performers from B, C, and A. And yeah, consistent performances from these guys, and it's something I'm expecting to see much more of later in the LCQs.
Absolutely. And something that you mentioned a little bit before about Navy was that this team, they really know their positionings around the map. They really know where to go, no matter what is taking place or what fights are happening around them. And it was keeping them alive for quite a long time. But then, out of nowhere, 3 members down, only 1 left. A lot of pressure that you have to deal with to make really a miracle happen in a situation where there's other 2 teams managing to stay alive all the way until the end. So sure, the map knowledge is really playing a part, and we can see why they get to the end in so many scenarios. But now it's okay, at what time you really evaluate if that map control or the kills are going to be the most valuable thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. A team that we really wanted to do well in this one as well, Jewel Kings, who have a lot to prove, and I mean, taken down by the eventual winners of the game, DN Esports here, kind of mid-game, and I mean, Jewel Kings did so well to start off their game in a good way, but not managing to get too many points here. Other teams that we expected to do very well, Rambox Gaming, Zundel, actually were taken down by Rambox later on, and again, it seems like the way it's kind of turned out in the group stage is very reflective of the kind of microcosm we have in the LCQs here, and every team kind of performing very similarly in terms of points just on the first map here. So it's interesting because, Bermuda, some teams are great at Bermuda, some teams are great at Kalahari, etc., etc. But it seems like everybody's really kind of just performing how we expect them to so far. Nothing out of the ordinary for our first game. We'll see how it develops, obviously. We've had that week break. Everybody's kind of had that points reset. You can see here, DN Esports, 31 points. Massive for them. I think really the only team which I expected to be a little higher, R15 Official only getting 3 points in that game. They did finish 13th after the group stage, which is a lot higher then teams like Skullbreakers, like Laonu, like Duel Kings. So I think that's really the only team that's out of position here.
The only team that I see being a little bit of a dark horse, just also a little bit based on this map, but also what we've got to see, the potential that they have is going to be Zundel. It's so far, I mean, they weren't caught in the best spot, but still managing to be right in the middle of this last chance qualifier in the first map that we get to see those points as well. And now it is how aggressive they like to play in a way that you're really taking a risk. But in so many scenarios, it's come up to be the right choice that they can make. So this is a little bit of a dark horse for me, and everyone else, like you said, pretty much performing to the level that we expected. DN being at the top, ending it on the group stages on that number 9 spot, and now getting first when you eliminate everyone that was doing better than them. It's just their time to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the kind of performance that we saw from a lot of these top teams, Bizarre Esports, Fuego, Team 999, Atomic, and all of this. These are the kind of points that they were getting. We got very used to these guys getting these high kind of 30s points, and you kind of forget when you go into, you eliminate those teams, and they're great. You're into the grand finals, off you go, and you really bring it down to these teams that were middle performers for that group stage. You kind of forget that somebody does have to get all the points in the end. Somebody does have to get that lion's share of the points.
Yeah.
Because, DN Esports bringing out a performance that we would have seen from one of these top teams in this one. You take out the top players and suddenly, Patojo gets 8 kills, Venva with another 8.
Wow, yeah.
And they're just massively on the board. Obviously, 19 kills across the whole team, so everybody else getting involved as well. But those two taking 16 of those for themselves.
It's someone else always trying to take that first spot, no matter what. And if you eliminate the teams at the top, then it gets a lot easier for these teams that can have a really good performance. They can start with a little bit of momentum being built here in Bermuda, seeing what they can do next. So for DN, I mean, it just looks the way that we expected, but the way that we also wanted to see that the consistency, that it's so hard because there's so many factors, there's so many things that can go on in this game, and you get caught off guard, you get taken down in very unfortunate situations. But if you're able to keep that consistency and that confidence of when you know where the drop spot every single time is going to be for you, what has worked out, and kind of where and when you want to take those fights. It seems like DN really has that figure out yet, but no, we have to see a little bit more from them into the rest of the maps that we have to see if this is just a Bermuda thing or is an overall thing from them.
Yeah, I mean, that last kind of zone did slightly favor them over the team who was doing so well positional-wise up until the end of the game there. Navy had to push a little further forward. DN Esports, the zone kind of pushed it just over the edge, so they did have the edge of the hill to work with there, so maybe that played a factor into that one. Maybe, that player from IT Official getting involved, Sanji there, did kind of distract Navy, but either way, DN Esports did the best they could with the kind of situation they were in, and adapted incredibly well to it. Their performance throughout the middle of that game was absolutely insane, no matter what they did towards the end, so they absolutely deserved all the points they got in that one. And with 30 starting off this, that's a absolutely massive boon going into the rest of today, if not the rest of the LCQs.
It's such a nice way to start it off, and because we don't have that many of those last chance qualifier games that are going to be played, there's even more pressure to have and to know how it's going to start and how it's going to keep going for today and for tomorrow. So at the end, they have a right idea, but it seems that it stayed at the bottom. We mentioned Schoolbreaker, for example. We've seen them as well have pretty good performances in each specific map, and now it's a matter of seeing and making sure that you're not getting caught into fights that you can't really win. You don't have the positioning, you don't have the time, the proper engagement, yes, and trying to fix those mistakes as soon as possible, right? The teams at the top, they're always going to be a risk until tomorrow, but the teams at the bottom, they're going to have the most difficult situation if they're not getting a good amount of points today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can see the difference in strategy here as well when you do look at this one. Obviously, we saw in that post-match kind of leaderboard at the end there, you saw everything ordered by how far everybody got into the game. DN Esports, then Navy. But you can see Rambox Gaming, another team that plays for those mid-game engagements, getting 13 kills in that game. It worked out both, best of both worlds for DN Esports. They got a lot of kills, and then they won the game. But Rambox Gaming, a team that doesn't really look to get, top 3 in that end game scenario. They just want to get as many kills as possible. And, if they get more than 10, suddenly it doesn't matter where they place. They've got enough points through kills that, who cares where we place? The point difference between, I don't know, 4th and 1st isn't going to make too much of a difference if we just get enough kills that we can make it up ourselves.
And we didn't see too many of those revives for the first map. We didn't see as many, but I feel like this is something that is just we're going to start seeing more and more. And it's an opportunity that is really enabling what you're saying, is getting those kills and taking the advantage from very early on, to the point that if you get the booyah, sure, you can get a little bit more points, but it's not going to be the everything for teams. So the kills, and it also really seems like it's the key that DN was able to figure out faster and to find faster. Is the kills really making a difference from beginning to end, and making sure that it's not a performance that you only see maybe 2-3 kills at the beginning and you don't see that team again. There's a consistent behavior that we see from them to get to the very end.
Well, everybody's going to need some consistent behavior as we head into our second game of Bermuda, our second map of the day. 4 more to go after this, obviously, but everybody really... Now the teams towards the bottom already have got it. You've got to get those points on the board right now, because, with such an amount less of games going on here, every game is going to count as much as it possibly could across the whole tournament. This is really the tightest kind of stage of the whole tournament. Group stage, 4 weeks. Then we got this. It's only 2 days. The grand finals are going to be longer than this. So really, really important for everybody to really put as much work in as possible right now. So we're really looking for, the teams towards the bottom, Skullbreakers, Laonu, Hags, Duel Kings, to get involved right now and show everybody that you can do something here on Bermuda before, you start to slip behind everybody too far.
You also don't want a situation like we saw for OG and the group stages. You don't want it to come to a couple points, 4 points, 3 points that you have to get at the very end. You want to have the confidence throughout this last chance qualifier that you have the opportunity to be on that top 4, and nothing crazy is going to happen in the last day that is going to deny you of that opportunity. So yeah, once again, that consistency, and the teams that were at the bottom already have to take action, like we see so early on.
Yeah, Duel Kings could really not have picked a worse team to drop on top of Navy. One of the teams we expect to do very well early game when they push on here. We don't see them in early game engagements too often. They usually drop well away from everybody else. But when they do get involved in early game engagements, they usually win them. Easy DN Esports have a player over towards there as well, but Navy are really the big winners right now. They're actually getting kills on both of the teams that have dropped on top of them, both of the D teams. Oh dear, Navy having a field day already, 5 kills, 3 more to go. Louis gets dropped, but I mean, how much more can the remaining players do? A lot, apparently. 3 members of Navy are now dropped, only 1 left on the ground with a gun in his hands, and he can't do anything more than just spray into the crowds of people who are trying to get kills on top of his whole team. 7 kills now. He'll eliminate DN Esports, go for a res. What? They've completely won that fight. No finishes from either team there either. They've got 7 kills. 1 player from Duel Kings managing to get away. They'll look for a res on that one. But wow, Navy Esports, I mean, a team that we really wanted to see get towards the end of that last game, and they did, but they didn't really get many points. That is a way to start a game.
That is a way to start for sure. It's so much action the first 2-3 minutes that we get to see, and everyone dropping in that same area is just a formula for chaos to take place. And it's not even over. Skullbreaker from the other side, still trying to put up a fight, but really not really turning out the way that they wanted to. Those grenades almost connecting to the last member's life for the squad.
Yep. Nieto from Duel Kings has now got well away, going for a very long rotation. I'm going to assume going for a res in Village over towards the southwest of this zone. But 1-8 also getting involved. Another team that didn't get too many points last game. Not because, they didn't get towards the end. Not because they just didn't really have, a great game either way. We saw them at the start of last game stuck in the second story of a house, under siege by Skullbreakers and another team. I can't remember which one it was. Probably Rambox, actually. Now Laonu, who, had a great start to the group stage. didn't get as many points as we'd have expected them to in an engagement with Rambox Gaming, who have been performing very well recently. They really want to get as many kills as they can right now, and it looks like it's going quite well for them. They'll get some finishes. They'll push round to try and find Santos here, who is now on the ground. Kevin running well away from the engagement. They're going to guarantee themselves 3 kills there and get every player staying alive for them. Lovely.
Rambox as well, with a little bit of over-aggression towards the end of that fight, so they suffer a couple losses, not the worst thing, but at the same time, it's situations where you don't want to be engaging too hard if they're already using those glow walls, not really having the best positioning, and not really having the best information of where Laonu was hiding. But Laonu, they're just going to benefit from this. They're going to capitalize from those kills and get a little bit more momentum going their way into the second Bermuda, see what else they're able to get away with, as on the side of RBG, they had only 1 player remaining, and they have to adapt with that.
Absolutely. Well, complete polar opposite, quite literally, to last game in terms of the ring. First ring, all the way on the northwest here. Just going to favor in the ring at all. Skullbreakers trying to rotate round. I think they're going to go for a long rotation, probably go up towards Observatory and wait there for the rest of the teams. Probably, you know, realizing that everybody else is going to be well towards the south side of the zone. If they get control of the north, they can just hold on to it for a while. Zundel laying siege to IT Official in the meantime.
They get some information, they know where IT is going to be located, but also where everyone else can be hiding. So Zundel decide to back up out the end, going to move a little bit more, getting out of that positioning and knowing that there's no one too close besides IT, so they can conquer and get a really good positioning again.
Everybody now gravitating towards where they need to be. Navy keeping up the pressure that they started with earlier on in the game. Jordan is down for ZRJ. They do need to find some cover quickly in the danger zone. The rest of the ZRJ team are around there as well. DN Esports, the first team to be eliminated in this first game here, or in this second game, sorry, after such a great start from them. They're not going to manage to get any points on the board for this last one. After being finished there by Navy, which is, I mean, maybe a little bit of revenge. Navy obviously taken out right at the end there. By that same team. Getting involved at the start is probably quite nice for them. They're going to be very confident going into this one. We've taken out, you know, the big kill leaders for the whole tournament, for the whole LCQ so far. Obviously, it's only been 1 map, but, you know, I think DN Esports definitely are starting off as the team to beat. Zundel now on the rest of ZRJ, who ran away from Navy Esports earlier on. Can't seem to catch a break. Zundel Esports, again, need a few more points here. They got 5 in that first map. Team that performed so well towards the end of group stages. Obviously, slow start, but, you know, TV Dinner warmed up.
It's nice to see the change as well in pace when it comes to Zundel and when it comes to figuring out what is working, what isn't working for them, being very careful about what engagements, what fights they're going to take, and which ones they're going to be more hesitant about. Like we saw at the beginning, they spotted IT, but they decided to wait a little bit more, wait for the right timing, because these two teams, they continue to be very close, and it's something that Zundel wants to be very careful. They can get kills from far away, but when you have to push the enemy, that is something that you really want to consider. So managing to stay alive for a little bit longer. And on the other side, we mentioned RBG towards the beginning. We're caught in a fight. Only 1 member alive. One of those revives was able to come through. So the team not looking too bad right now.
Yeah, I think they're actually back up to 3 members. I think we're going to see 1 more drop towards the map. At the same time, you can see Dual Kings, who were crippled massively by Navy Esports at the start of the game, down to 1 player. Nieto was the last player alive. Actually got away by the skin of their teeth. Does manage to revive the whole squad. Well outside of the zone. They did go to Village. They did get that revive station down. Now they're heading around. But it looks like, you know, heading that way, you're going to be running straight into Skullbreakers. Straight into the team that eliminated you as well in Navy. Hags, their first fight of the game. They're running in on a quite segmented here IT Official, who, you know, you can see 2 of the players not anywhere near our member here that's engaged in the fight with Hags. trying to give some support, but with Hags just completely laying siege to this man, Beto, I don't think he's going to stay alive for much longer. Oh! He gets 2 knocked with the shotgun. He's got well involved. The knock does come through onto him, and I think the reses will come through onto the 2 players of Hags that were knocked, but putting up a good fight for himself while the rest of the team is kind of absent right now.
And Hags is also one of those teams that we haven't gotten the chance to talk about too much, and especially because they're getting taken down into fights where they shouldn't be, but now managing to stay alive, taking a little bit of damage, and it's just always this team struggling to survive that mid game, right? So how are they adapting to this one? In that first map, we didn't get to see too much of them, but now managing to survive for a little bit longer, even though there just haven't been many teams taken down so far, right? It was only DN, and actually a very, very surprising one that got taken down from them. Everyone else with 2 members or 3 members, but still managing to stay in the game.
Yep. Everybody now taking their positions for the second ring here. Waiting for that third one to come through. You can see everybody well distributed across this one. 10 teams still left. We're expecting a couple more to be eliminated within the next ring area. Everybody's playing it slow so far. Again, you know, these teams towards the bottom, they really want to get some points on the board. The teams towards the top, they really want to protect their points. And, you know, this is kind of the, you know, second map, third map is where we're going to see it slow down a little bit. Everybody not get too aggressive, and then we're going to see it probably ramp back up again towards the end of the day. But we'll see here. Duel Kings have found the area that 1A are involved in. Clock Tower, just on the south of the zone. It's probably the biggest area that has a lot of buildings in this next zone, but the next zone, you can see, just pushes over towards the strip up there, which, I mean, there's not a lot to hide behind over there. A lot of trees, not much else.
Oh yeah, it's not the best situation as well to deal with now. On the other side, the action starts to take place in 1A. Looking as well for a little bit of revenge from far away, managing to shut down a couple of the members that were running towards them. And this is the advantage that they have. They were in a little bit of a better positioning. They were able to connect the kills, and now it seems like they also want to push.
1A heading up towards the north, where Rambox trying to head him off. Santos is the only player left standing of this team. He's going to try and hold the whole 1A line from getting through there. If he can get one finish, he's done a good job. Oh, that won't happen. That's, yeah, not going to happen. Well, 1A Esports now up to 5 kills. They got past the, nothing more than a road bump that was the Rambox Gaming squad. Now they can head up towards the north, try and contest ZRJ that are right ahead of them. Obviously, Navy well rotated quickly, and once again, they're playing the strat. They don't really want to get heavily involved in mid-game. They're going to sit over towards the dam here and just wait for teams to come to them. Skullbreakers, they're the toll masters of this bridge here. Zundel trying to push in on them once again. I mean, this fight happened last game as well. Skullbreakers eliminated by Zundel. That was just a lovely little push from those guys. Now they're up to 4 kills. No casualties. They're pretty happy with this, but they do need to keep moving.
Is going to be trying to keep moving the more that they can, but Zundel, again, we get to see them knowing when to engage, knowing when they have to play aggressive. Schoolbreak here, they only had 1 remaining, and everyone alive for Zundel, which is the perfect conditions for them to get the last kill, to get a little bit more momentum going on, and see how far they can get. As, like you said, they're going to have to continue moving, and this is something that can play against them, as the positioning for everyone else seems to be so much better already.
Yep. Zundel push round here, and Duel King's just following them at this point. You can see Discuro right behind them, not engaging yet, just kind of watching them, making sure it's safe for the rest of the team to come through, although the rest of the team is stuck in the zone. Papi Camus gets knocked by the play zone, running for his life there. That's unfortunate. But Zundel Esports, they've run into some problems of their own. Navy are right round the corner, and they've already found 1 sniper shot down onto, I think it was Jeff there, who did get back up. But Hags are also right in front of them. They're just stopping them from moving any further forward. So they'll somehow just run into the magnum opus of terrifying gunfights at this point. Flanked on both sides by teams, and Duel Kings are right behind them as well.
Yeah, there's pretty much nowhere to run for the setup Zundel, so they have to make their own way. They have to make their own path here. And so far, making it work pretty well. They have to deal with this set of hackers, but so far, I mean, it's just the trees for protection. There's really nothing else.
Yeah. Waiting here, Hags. 2 kills. They do definitely want some more. They're not known for winning the last engagement of the game, so getting kills before that last team is alive and pushing in on them is very good for them. But Zundel, they have not been deterred by the amount of shots that were fired down on top of them earlier. They're getting involved very quickly here. It's a lovely nade through the window to do a lot of damage there to Pana. Rivera right around the corner with the Shark shotgun. Does a little bit of damage to Dariel, and Pana picks it up. Get the knock on him and the finish. A point for Hags. Debris on the floor. Gets finished as well, but there's Mundo. Oh, and Hags Esport just completely eliminated in one fell swoop by Zundel. Only took 1 casualty earlier on in the fight. Very good for them. Now they have Laonu to push in on, because in this last zone, well, fourth zone, but it probably will be the last zone, 6 teams still standing.
Yeah, there's quite a lot, and that is why we see the glow walls. There's pretty much no other protection around this area. Zundel with the grenades were able to close up the fight. They're still completely surrounded, and only the damage is really going to make a difference. Once again, finding the opening.
Then they push. Laonu just managing to slow them down, if nothing else. Zundel staying alive, though. Getting more kills. Laonu crippled badly by this one. Navy, in the meantime, have completely taken down ZRJ. 1A getting involved on Laonu as well. Prince, and I think Mario, oh no, Milo up in here. Just trying to hold off these 2 teams as 1A is also being fired down, and what a nade! 1 knock, and Milo is the last player left standing now as 1A. They've held this little area completely under their control. I mean, with shots firing down on top of them from Zundel, they're still managing to stay alive and do damage to Laonu. Firing back on Navy. Chris is down. I mean, Chris got knocked early. Oh, earlier on in the last fight, in the last game, from that Louis. Manages to return fire before Ghost can get behind cover. He will manage to get the res on that one. Navy now pushing in on another team. Jill King's eliminated by the zone, I think, there. Eventually. So many teams still left. I mean, 4 teams still left on this 5th area.
Yeah. And it's also 1A in that low ground, so they had to use a bunch of glue walls to get that healing, to get protected, while they're ready to take that next fight. And this high ground, it continues to be Zundel dominating the most.
Grab a little bit more. Grab a little bit more. Loot here as they move in, preparing for their final fight. Laonu still just about hanging on by the skin of their teeth. Letra, I think, knocks himself out with a nade there. Jeff is the last player left standing for Zundel, and it's no longer Navy getting real involved this game. 16 kills already. 1A push out and completely finish off Laonu as Navy keep firing on top of them. Only 2 teams left standing, 2 players left standing for 1A. Keep firing on top of down of them. Louis here. It's just trying to find one more. They're going to try and go for the res here, and there's just enough cover to do so. They do manage to get him up, and they see that. But Navy have the high ground. They have so much health. They have 4 players left standing. They can just keep firing down on top of them for days, and the play zone is going to be pushing them out as well. 1A Esports under so much pressure, lose out, and it is Navy who take the second booyah of the day.
Maybe in a little tower, in a little positioning, where usually when you see towards the beginning, towards the middle of the game, it looks very risky because you get surrounded, you get taken down, but at the very, very end, it's the perfect protection to take care of, and it's perfect protection to keep the team alive and to allow them to get almost the same level of high ground that the enemy had. So really nice booyah here, going their way, and a lot more intensity of gameplay that we saw all across from the beginning, right? From the first 2 minutes, there were already teams fully getting taken down.
Yeah, and I mean, Navy Esports, not only did they get a lot of points that game, I'm not sure it was quite as impressive as DN Esports' first game, but more importantly, they took down the leaders so far right at the start. DN Esports, are going to come away with absolutely 0 points on that game, which means Navy are going to, I imagine, fully take them over in the whole standings for today so far. So massive from Navy. They've done an amazing job. I mean, they're not a team that likes to get involved mid-game, but they were kind of forced into a fight at the start. And you can see, even when they are forced into a fight, they're still proficient in there. They got 2 teams completely down. I mean, Dual Kings managed to survive until the end just about, but they got 7 kills in the first fight of the game. And then just carried on that momentum throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, Dual Kings, they had a one player alive for the longest time at the very end, and it was just hiding, trying to stay alive, trying to get a kill, maybe a little bit more points for the team. But when you already lost so much, you don't have the revive, you don't have those chances, you get taken down. At least, they made it to the very end, they were able to get those points, and this is something that it's going to continue being the narrative for this last chance qualifier, getting those points and trying to stay on the top maybe 6 where you still are going to stand a chance.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're going to see a lot more of this teams trying to specifically take out other teams, because this time, it's not over the course of 4 weeks. You're not, it's not like this kind of thing where, over this whole time, it's going to even itself out. It's just going to be how we each perform. This time, it is a strategical advantage to take out the top runners. Navy have now painted a target on their back after that game, just like DN Esports painted a target on their backs after the first game. And this is going to keep going. We've only got 2 days of competition. We're already 1/3 through our first day. That's a 6th through the whole of the LCQs already. And I mean, you can already see the rivalries forming, DN Esports and Navy right at the top. And they're just getting involved with each other now. I want to see how DN Esports strike back on Kalahari, but more importantly, absolutely brilliant performance from Navy. Let's see if they can keep up that momentum.
It's really the meaning of every match, every map is going to matter for these teams. You cannot afford a really, really bad performance when you get taken down, no kills, no points going on for you. It's got to be consistency, and it's got to be making sure that your plays are going to be effective at the very end. And I'm also so glad that we got to talk about Sundell on that first map, not doing too hot, not doing too good. And the second one, we got to see them until the very end, and it seems like they have a very, very good understanding on how the gameplay is going to be better for them, how they're going to shine more. So yeah, Sundell ending up on that 4th place, 19 points that they get, so it's the second most points that we get to see here.
Yeah, I mean, Navy Esports obviously coming away with a lot of kills and the win with 29 points. Not quite as many as DN Esports, but as you can see, DN Esports doesn't matter. They're on 0 points towards the bottom there. Yeah, Zundel Esports really putting in a shift this time. Not getting into the top 3, but getting 19 points at the end of that one. That will overtake 1A Esports for that, who also needed points. 1A Esports and Laonu both getting into the top 3. They really needed those points after last game. They weren't quite what we expected from these 2 teams. I guess Laonu, Laonu and 1A admittedly did finish the group stage towards the bottom, but they are teams that we've seen glimpses of really good gameplay from in that last stage of the tournament, so we do expect them to do quite well. There we go, Navy really getting on the board this time. Louis doing so well in that first fight, does pick up 7 kills. Chris and Chino also getting on the end there, and Chino does manage to save, I think, after that one, his Bermuda kind of placement rate, which will stay near 1 at the very least here. Jeff getting on the board as well for Zundel, and Ghost getting a lot of the work done for 1A Esports.
1A was also on that group stage right at the middle, right? The position number 15, where you have already shown they were able to get some good results, but not enough to get all the way at the top to qualify for those grand finals or to get to the top of the teams that qualify for this last chance qualifier. So right in the middle, have a lot of potential, and it's something that you said before. It's really showing that these teams have really good vibes of what they can do towards the end and how they can turn some messy gameplay into some really, really clean ones. So for 1A, managing to stay consistent into the second, and now is when we get to see things changing around a bit, right? So Navy all the way at the top.
Yeah, I mean, their targeted attack on DN Esports has actually made a massive difference in the overall standings, getting themselves a 9-point gap between them and the second place team. Obviously, Navy did quite well in that first game, so they got themselves points for both games. Massive for them. DN Esports, unfortunately, all of their points coming from the first map there. Zundel Esports moved their way up into the top 3. 1A Esports also overtaking Rambox, Hags, and IT Official in that second game, who moved down towards the bottom, but lower runners, obviously R15 Official, we forgot to mention, didn't actually participate in that second map. They should be back for the third. we'll see. Skullbreakers, though, having a very consistently unimpressive performance, I would say, for those first 2 maps.
Schoolbreaker, the one time there where I really got to see them shine very, very bright was, I believe, last week. There was 1 or 2 maps where they were getting until the very end. They were getting kills, and it was a really good sign of the potential that they have as a team. But so far, not really performing, only 2 points so far, all the way at the bottom. And this is when the situation gets really scary. After today, the points can be pretty much set for the teams at the top, at the bottom. Making a comeback is going to require so much of things that can be unexpected, like I talked about. It's maybe drop spots that don't really work out for you, like we saw into the second map, or is you engaging into fights, knowing and thinking that you can have the advantage, not really turning on to be that way. So it's only 2 of the 4 maps that we have today. What can be done for these teams before we get to the half of the day?
Well, I mean, DN Esports, historically, especially in last group stage, not actually, Bermuda isn't really their map, They don't really perform consistently on there. They've got Booyahs, obviously, they've done very well, but most of their kills are found on Kalahari, which is coming up next. So maybe they're going to be able to bring it back to Navy on this one. I'm just checking Navy, see where they stack up in this whole thing. I mean, obviously, Bermuda, such a great map for them. They have such consistent placement on that one. Yeah, Kalahari and Purgatory, not quite as good for them. So, they really wanted to get points in those first 2 games. They accomplished that. They did quite well. We're going to have to see if they can fend off DN Esports coming into these next 2 maps, though, specifically.
Kalahari is one of the maps that I really like to see, just because it allows you to have so many very, very interesting positioning for teams. So if you are at the top and you have that understanding, notably being DN that we got to see in that first map, maybe in the second one not too much, not being able to shine too bright. But in Kalahari, you're able to get into a really good positioning from so early on, once you get kind of an idea of where the ring is going to set, where it's going to go. And it really allows for the high grounds to work to the side of teams until the very end. I mean, we've seen notably multiple scenarios where the high ground's really allowing and making that victory, that booyah, to go into a team so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, such an open vertical map. We're just about to head into that one, as indicated by the yellow screen. Refinery, such an important place, right in the middle of the map. Has quick rotations round to pretty much anywhere you want to go with the zip lines. Yeah. And it's such a high ground that you can just fire down upon any team that is contesting that one. So not only is it going to be generally within the first circle, the second circle, but it's going to be an easy place to get out of once you want to as well. So we're going to see who usually plays for that one. I think Zundel usually plays for that. Navy tries to contest it early on. We'll see how everybody else plays around that. It looks like we've got a little... I'm not sure what's going on with R15. We're trying to figure out if they're going to keep coming into this one. They really do need their points, so we hope they do get involved. No, it doesn't look like they're going to be on this map either. But it is what it is. I mean, every map really counts now. This is not the same as losing a map in group stage. You lose a map in the group stage, you can come back from that one. You got time. This time, a lot more important to play every game, be present for every one of them. We'll see if they get back later today. But everybody now dropping down on Kalahari. Let's see if DN Esports can make something a little better happen this time.
Teams at the bottom, it's the teams that are going to be looking at into Kalahari. Maybe that first map really wasn't going their way, really wasn't giving their results, but this one is a perfect opportunity to see what else you can do. And everyone dropping out in different spots. I really like to see this early on. It seems like it's already going to be so much slower to take place compared to what we saw, and it's going to be nice to get that information and to take those proper team fights when and only when it's necessary. It's something that we got to see, and I highlighted from Zundel. Even though they were so close to IT, they knew how to play. They knew how to be very, very passive until it was absolutely necessary. And those were the results that they got. It was that top 4 that they got. And it's a strategy that a lot more teams can implement into this one.
Yeah, as you can see, Zundel are the team that drop on top of Refinery. Navy heading over towards the southeast there, but the only two teams that look up right next to each other, ONU and IT Official. IT Official open things up with a kill onto Milo, a kill onto Mario. They're looking to finish it off very quickly here. Bebeto just turning around this corner, puts the time turner down, gets himself away from at least one player. They're starting things off very quickly. One kill guaranteed. They're looking to go ahead and finish off that second one. There you go. 2 points on the board for them already. Hunting down the rest of that ONU, who have now split up to disengage.
The only two teams managing to be close enough into this one, and IT getting the best of it right now. Bebeto and Beto, one of the best players that they have in the team, constantly having a really good performance, but now caught a little bit from behind, still managing to get and to stay alive as Launu is just trying to run away.
Yeah, I think this is really just how far can you lead them away? How long can you lead them away? So that we can get our last player there. You can see Prince over heading towards the hills. How much time can we give him to get away from the IT Official side? Well, there you go. That's how much time. 2.5 minutes. And he's managed to get quite a ways away. He'll be able to rotate all the way around. You can see the distance between him and the rest of the IT Official team. He's over towards Council Hall. He'll be able to buy back some players there. There is no revive station there, though. That's a little wider of a rotation over towards Bayfront. And DN Esports kind of heading down on top of them. There we go. We get Mario back in the game. But it's, I mean, how much money does he have to bring back the rest of the players at this point?
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one here, but they're going to try to go for it. You got to invest and you got to try the best in a map like this one, in a map like Kalahari, where things can go wrong very quickly. Like we got to see for Launu, just not really working out, taking early engagement, taking early damage without even having the weapons that they wanted to. So a little bit unfortunate for them, but going to play more patience, going to play for the movement as the zone takes an approach all the way to the northeast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very happy for, obviously, Zundel, who, I mean, there's the likelihood of the zone not touching Refinery, I think, on the first time is absolutely zero. But, you know, it's not too far away from them, although it is quite an edge one. You can see, actually, well, like the amount of zone that is covered by mountains that you can't climb on is quite a lot. Probably, you know, a good 20%. Prince finally taken down, but he did manage to get one member back alive. It's now Mario who has to revive the rest of his team, and he's headed over towards Shrines, I think. Where, I mean, Dual Kings are going to be heading down on top of him, so I don't think Laonu are going to catch a break this game whatsoever. But now IT Official actually kind of defending from Hags here. They already have 4 kills. I mean, they're pretty confident, and they do know where Hags are. Throwing nades down on top of Panna. Panna having to move around. The rest of the team can't quite see him. Panna and Edward, who are contesting this area. Edward just trying to run round some hard cover. Fired down upon, and Hags, they're going to have to make a miracle happen to move in a little closer to IT Official here.
It's a long way to go here in the defense so far. Looking the way that IT was expecting. They get some early action and they want to continue getting that damage, getting those kills. That is connecting so well, but waiting once again for the engagement, having to move a little bit in a chance where, you know, that zone is going to be so open, is going to be so big for everyone to get into the position needed, that on the other side, Schoolbreaker gets enough time to go to the blue zone to see what they're able to get and then move. But this is already a characteristic from them. This is something that they are known for, just getting very, very late to those zones, and that is why in so many scenarios they get taken down so early.
Yeah, I mean, heading late towards the zone is in some ways a very good thing. It means nobody's going to come around behind you. You don't have to defend from behind. You just focus on what's in front of you as you get in there. Obviously, you know, it means you're less likely to engage with a team, but, you know, for some teams, it's really not going to work out for you that way. Some teams are just better at rotating early and kind of defending a middle position and making sure that you have somewhere to work with towards the end of the game, because moving constantly in the game puts so much pressure on you when you're in a fight. You know, suddenly you find yourself in an awkward position. You still need to fight off another team, and it just becomes too much for you and you lose out on that battle. Some teams are really good with that. You know, Navy like to go for an early rotation and then just kind of work with it. They're good at positioning enough that it doesn't matter where they rotate to. They'll win those fights out anyway, and as you can see, getting involved with Hags now, because they've made their way all the way from the sub, all the way up to the river here on the west side of the map, the east side of the map, excuse me.
a little bit of movement then that we get to see from Navy. They want to get away with the Booyah. They want to get away with more points that are going to guarantee that they're able to stay at the top. But I mean, things can change around very, very quickly, especially in those first 3 maps that we get to see so far. DN managing to stay alive. The biggest enemy that they could face is going to be DN and how far they're able to get. It's something that is going to be scary that they have to face, but so far this two teams managing to stay alive as DN now contested right in the middle of the action.
Yeah, IT official, the kill leaders so far have run up on them. Saw them take out a whole team earlier on in the game. Can they take out DN Esports? This is their best map, DN Esports, so they really need to make this count, especially after having lost to that second map with 0 points. And they do get 2 members completely knocked by the rest of the IT official team. IT official taking a lot of casualties as well. What a nade thrown down from Sanji. Finishes off a player and knocks one more. Bad Boy on the ground now. Finished by the rest of the team. Denver trying to get involved. They do manage to nip it in the bud there. IT official finally eliminated, but in a fight where IT official had less players, less to work with, DN Esports now need to buy back the rest of the team. They are back in the map, but, you know, that means they are going to have less loot to work with. They have to that's going to take, you know, a good minute to get all back on their feet. And, you know, Hags and CRJ are right next to them on the other side of this river.
A lot of pressure here to deal with, and a lot of movement that has to take place. You talked about it earlier. Sometimes it's nice, sometimes it gets scary, and when you don't know where the zone is going, a lot of movement and a lot of vulnerable positions that teams are going to have to take. So right now, all the way to the south, you can still see Schoolbreaker. They've been taking some damage. They've been managing to stay alive. Barely. They should be able to catch and to find RBG, who's playing all the way back.
Well, Chino already down for Navy. You can see they're trying to take down Blue Wall so that they can take down whoever is rezzing them. That is one. And they get 2 finishes here, ZRJ. And Navy, it seems like, you know, this is their worst map technically. Oh, but Louis! Oh, takes the head off Fizz. He wasn't expecting that whatsoever. They get another kill on the board. They really need these. Navy, look, the thing is, they start off the day with such great performances all the time on Bermuda, and at this point they're just coasting. They know this isn't their favorite map. They know they usually get less kills. They know their placement points are usually a lot lower. So at this point you're coasting through the rest of the day. You've got to your full speed. Now you just got to stop yourself from grinding to a dead halt. And I mean, they've stayed alive in that fight, and they managed to disengage and get a kill for themselves, so they're probably pretty happy with that. Oh, the nade bounces off the wall and knocks down Ciaz there on the ground. ZRJ getting third party now by 1A Esports.
And the grenades, it's something that we got to see a little bit early on, that they were able to get kills, but it's also being very careful about how many of those grenades you're using. It is so nice to see those grenades at the very, very end of these maps. When you only have a couple teams remaining, a grenade can guarantee the last couple that are going to be needed, but they have to be invested in the best way possible. And so far, or when for IT especially, it was giving them the results, but IT just getting taken down right at the end.
Well, Zundel start to take fire down on Skullbreakers here, as everybody else getting well involved. You know, we got 9 teams in towards the second zone. It's almost third zone time. There's Rambox Gaming. These guys are well outside of the zone at this point. They're out by command post. You can't see that on the map, but they are well outside of the zone. Zundel have already disengaged. They're trying to get in towards this next zone, but Skullbreaker's kind of stuck here with the rest of Rambox. So you're not stuck in here. We're not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with us. Just trying to take him out now. Yep. Rambox Gaming win out that fight. The rest of Skullbreakers completely segmented across the map. You can see well away from each other, and if Rambox Gaming catch up to them, that'll make things very tough for them. You can see Zundel got well away already.
At least they shouldn't be able to catch up just yet, but it does seem like it's only a matter of time before that next engagement takes place. And Skullbreaker, they found themselves into a way where they cannot even support each other. On the other side, though, Zundel ready for the action, but RBG getting the best of them.
Yeah. You can see
Nice
Zundel
rest, yeah.
just about managed to equalize out that fight. You can see... Oh. Rambox Gaming, although no Lewis Hamilton getting in towards the end there with style and with pace, they did manage not to get into the next stage of the... Well, actually, no, they're getting everybody back up, so maybe more of a Russell figure as they do manage to head into the later stages of the... Is this like Q2? This is like Q2. I mean, we're into the final... We're into the final 8 teams. That's Q2. So yeah, no, they're better than Hamilton in that sense. Sundell staying alive, and they do manage to res that one in that. And I mean, they get some kills on the board. They do need some more points. Again, this is not one of their favorite maps. I would say Sundell most comfortable on Purgatory. But yeah. I mean, at this point, you know, every point you can get is always helpful.
Yeah, as far as you're able to get, and as many kills as you're able to get is going to be, you know, the best possible scenario, especially for a map where you're not consistently good at or very, very good at. If you're able to get away with more kills, more points than expected, is going to be only playing to your favor. So Sundell is going to try to go for that, as they've been able to land some kills, they've been able to land some damage from far away, but the zone getting a lot smaller, and teams that were already in position are going to take advantage of that.
Yeah. You see Navy rezzed all their players back up. You see them all in the house here now. They're doing quite well for themselves on a map that historically they haven't really done so well on. Sundell Esports, they're now just trying to kind of keep them out of this next zone. They've got a nice position to do so. Jeff is taken down. Relatively safe position to be rezzed. Nope. Louis finishes that one off. Louis kind of pulling the rest of his team through by the scruff of the neck at this point. Electra also taken down by Chris, but you can see now 1-8 have got involved with Hags now. Hags are just trying to stay away. You can see them barely fighting at this point. They just want to get in towards the next zone. How many times have they been denied from getting into the next zone? Oh, they're going to be denied once again. Skullbreakers take down Edward. They're looking to completely dismantle the Hags team as they move all the way around. Sobri right next to them as well. On low health, I don't think any healing available. The need runs through on him. Puts out his next clue wall, but where can he go at this point? Just behind the shipping container. It's a game of cat and mouse. Ghost manages to finish him off. He's down. Only one player of Hags left standing, Rivera, and he is nowhere near the rest of his team.
What else can we do here so far? Navy getting pretty good results. Might not be the best map, but they're definitely trying to make it one. Quite a lot of kills going their way, and everyone else just kind of playing behind, playing with a couple members lacking as well. The majority of them, in fact. Skullbreaker only having one, and this is a slow momentum that we got to see that didn't really turn out to be the best way possible. So Skullbreaker fighting with his last member to make it, but that's not going to happen. Taken down at the end. And so they'll make it only down to 6 teams in such a close area to deal with. The high ground making a difference, and Navy trying to take the shots from so far away.
Yeah, DN Esports really trying to stake their claim on this map. They've got right up on top of the hall here. The council hall. Nice high walls to work with. A lot of cover as well. You can see all of these walls that you can just hide behind if you do get too low. They've got a lot of healing as well. You can see Vemba by himself on 8. 10 glue walls to work with as well. But Ramon, great with the sniper. Navy, historically not amazing here, but they're doing so well to stay in this top 3, kind of top 4 area. If they can lay siege to this council hall, then they can really take the fight to DN Esports and keep them from taking that lead back.
Absolutely a possibility here for the last team's Navy. On fire, but on that low ground. So what can they do to make a difference into this one? It's going to be DN. It's going to be 1A trying to contest them from different angles so far, making it work. And DK, once again, in a slow start, we didn't really get to see much from them, but they make it to the end. They're getting those points, and now is when they have to get those kills.
Yeah, they're kind of all grouped up there, a bit lemming-ish. As DN Esports, I mean, they have bigger fish to fry. They've let Navy now into the council hall, which is going to be pretty difficult for them to keep a hold of if they can't do some more damage. There goes Ramon, once again, knocked down and finished. That's great for them. They're going to be able to take that fight straight to the rest of the team. DK just trying to get towards them at this point, but just can't really make anything happen. They're stuck on the tall side of the council hall. They can't really push in any further. DN Esports have such a nice area to work with, firing down on top of the rest of the Navy. Chino on the Round. Chris out of DK here as they get all the way around. They're actually going to take out Dual Kings. It looks like no, they bring the fight back to them. Chris is on the ground now. Dual Kings eliminated by the rest of Navy. Navy doing well for themselves as they're into the top 3 members of this game. 1A Esports, didn't forget about them. They're over towards the hill, just trying to fire down on top of these 2 teams. Third party at least 1 or 2 fights. Bad Boy steps back into the zone. They're going to have to pause for a second here and get that res back up. But oh dear. Navy also taking a lot of damage from these final 2 teams.
It is absolute destruction here. The different areas where everyone is going to be located make a really nice scenario for the end to be able to stay alive, to get the protection that they need, to use whatever they need to stay alive. But now it's only down to 3. Navy only have 1 left alive.
Yeah, Louis right up at the top there got hit quite badly by Laurent as they moved in. Louis finally eliminated. Not sure what happened up there, but definitely did not. Bad Boy once again walks into the play zone. DN Esports can't make any mistakes here, but Bad Boy has completely left his team with only 3 members left alive, and 1A Esports are capitalizing on that as they move in. More knocks to the play zone. DN Esports are taken down by 1A Esports. That's massive points for them, and a brilliant victory.
Really, really nicely done for 1A. They only had really to contest the end to get away with that one. We saw Navy so close but so far. Didn't have the numbers to work with, so it's a perfect scenario for 1A to take advantage to get that booyah and to get away with more points than they expected. It's a team that we saw a little bit early on. They slowed down just for a couple fights, and when they had to take that fight to the enemy to the end, they were able to do just that. So it looked very close as well. The numbers are pretty much the same, but after they shot down one of the members for the end, it was just all 1A and what they were able to do.
Yeah, really the domino effect towards the end there. I mean, DN Esports were holding onto it so well, but then, Bad Boy steps into the zone, a little mistake, and then, as I said, later on in the zone, you really need to think about your positioning on a micro scale. How close are you to that next zone? How quick is it pushing towards you? How much of a kind of margin of error, do you have when you're taking that fight? Because it's not just the other team you have to worry about. That zone is going to be doing a lot of damage at the end of the game. They just didn't think about it enough. 1A Esports took advantage of that, pushed in towards them. They didn't have anything to worry about because they were right in the middle of that zone. They made sure of that towards the end. But DN Esports, with such a good position in this fifth ring here, they didn't convert it to enough points. Obviously doing incredibly well. They do take away quite a lot there. I think, obviously, they're going to be well into the 20s in that game. Oh, sorry. At least the high 10s. But anyway, I mean, it's just not what they would have wanted out of that game is the problem. It's a great performance. It's just not all that amazing.
The positioning that DN had, it was really made to have them be successful and to pretty much get away with it if they played it in a perfect way. But some of them deciding to drop, some of them taking some early damage and engagements that didn't turn out to be the best way possible. Nonetheless, they get that second place in this first Kalahari that we get to see in 1A, taking away 19 points. I mean, regardless, everyone very, very close at top 3, 19 and 18.
Yeah, Navy are going to maintain their lead after what was a very good performance on that one. Obviously, nothing stand out from any team here, obviously. Every team has their different play styles and got involved in different ways, and so many different teams got involved in the mid-game that made it hard for the sustainability to come through for those top 3 teams. So all of them at some point had lost a few players and had to res them back up. And then obviously you have less resources to work with. You might not have picked up a better gun when you got revived. You lose all of those med kits, all of those glue walls that you had before. As you can see, Navy maintaining the lead of 11 points up there. Very nice for them. 1A Esports move up into 3rd place, overtaking Zundel Esports, who didn't have the best performance in that map. They were just on the edge of the zone the whole time. They were being hounded down by Rambox and Skullbreaker. So not quite as amazing for them. But it's still, at the very least, at the top of the top 4, which is where you need to be by the end of the 2 days. So nice for them. Skullbreakers, another performance that just wasn't, they got involved and they got kills, and still they just weren't able to convert them to points by the end of the game. Laonu as well, just not getting enough to stop Dual Kings from overtaking them as they got into the top 4.
It's a massive difference that we see from top to bottom, right? It's 60 points for the team at the top and only 3 for our 15 all of R15 all the way at the bottom. It's a very, very big difference. And this is why every single map, every single match that they have to face, and every single one of the 2 days that we have, it's really going to matter, because now you start to think about it. What are the chances of R15 or Schoolbreaker recovering from this into what is left of today, right? It has to be a complete change for them. Getting those booyahs, getting over 10 kills maybe to stand a chance into what is left of today. It is very risky, and it's not something that you can always be counting on, because there's always a factor of things that can go unexpectedly and you getting taken down and not really standing a chance. So it's got to be the time to wake up for those teams at the bottom, because the top is looking very, very good.
Yeah, we're looking at, the two teams right now that are competing for that top 4 position. 4th and 5th is Zundel Esports. Very, very, very similar performances for these two teams, and that's just that's going to show, and this is going to carry on through the rest of these 2 days, is how close this midfield is going to be, how close that contest for the top 4 is going to be. Average kills 5.3, average placements in the same area 6 to 7, and it's really, really important for these guys to get in their points right now. But we are going to head to a quick 10-minute break, and you're going to be greeted with a new little thing about the Free Fire World Series by a very, very attractive, very, very funny man, and you're going to see that coming up very soon. So stick with us. We'll go for this short break, and then we'll get back with some more action.
Season 2 of the Free Fire Pro Series for North America is now well underway, with our 24 group stage teams fighting to make it into the grand finals. And with a prize pool to the tune of $50,000, the battle is reaching a fever pitch. Could the stakes get any higher? Why, yes, they could, with our grand finalist winners earning themselves a spot in the Free Fire World Series.
For the first time in professional Free Fire, North America will be granted a slot into the play-ins of the Free Fire World Series taking place in Sentosa, Singapore in May. The Free Fire Pro Series will crown not just the Season 2 champion, but the first North American representative for the World Series as well. What should our home team expect from their first step into international play? Let's find out. The Free Fire World Series is the culmination of all professional Free Fire circuits, spanning 13 regions around the world. It is the biggest stage of Free Fire esports, where the cream of the crop fight to prove not only that they're the best in the world as a team, but as their home region. As an offline in-person tournament, all competitors will play live on stage alongside their teammates and their opponents. Starting on May 14th, our Free Fire Pro Series champions will join 11 other squads for the play-in stage of the tournament. The North American representative will face off against the first seeds from Taiwan and Pakistan, as well as the second seeds from Brazil, the CIS, Indonesia, India, Latin America, MCP, MENA, Vietnam, and the current reigning champion region of Thailand. The play-in teams will battle it out across Bermuda, Kalahari, and Purgatory to rack up as many points as possible with both final placements and kills. But only the top 2 teams will qualify for the World Series Finals, joining the 10 teams seeded directly from their region. With last year's World Series prizes amounting to a massive $2 million, we can expect another colossal prize pool for 2022, with teams taking home a cut just for making it to the tournament. The 2021 World Series champions Evo's Phoenix from Thailand took home the lion's share of $500,000. On their way to the crown, they claimed 4 booyahs of the 6 games played in the finals, with 48 kills and 113 points.
But the Free Fire World Series is so much more than just a competition for a cash prize. It's an international spectacle celebrating Free Fire players from around the world, from the casual player to the full-time competitor. And with so much content, music, and highlights, it'll be a joy to cheer on our North American representatives at the Free Fire World Series. The Free Fire World Series play-ins begin on May 14th, with grand finals taking place a week later on May 21st. There'll be a multitude of broadcasts covering all the action in several different languages. But before all that, we need to crown our North American champions to represent the region in Sentosa. So tune in on YouTube and Twitch live to see who will be winning the North American Free Fire Pro Series for us to cheer on the world stage. Oh no, how am I getting down?
To the rave spot, keep the vibe strong, keep the party going till the break of dawn. From the warehouse to the rave spot, keep the vibe strong, keep the party going till the break of dawn. I'm a house head, I'm a raver, I'm a bass head, I'm a snow. Music, my religion, it's a message from beyond. I'm a house head, I'm a raver, I'm a bass head, I'm a snow. Music, my religion, it's a message from beyond. Go with my wordplay, check what I say.
Hi survivors, welcome to Season 2 of the Free Fire Pro Series. We're back to bring you more action, more talent, and even more booyahs for the best teams in North America. On top of a whopping $50,000 prize pool and the bragging rights of being crowned the FFPS Grand Champion, this season the winners will also earn the first ever North American invite to the Free Fire World Series. But before they get there, teams will have to fight their way through a grueling 2-month tournament, including an open qualifier, group stage, last chance qualifier, and grand finals. The action started earlier this month with the open qualifier, where 192 teams from all across North America joined the FFPS for the first stage of the tournament. Each qualifier round featured 6 games, where teams earned points based on their in-game performance, including their placement and their kills in the 12-team lobbies. Only teams in the top half of their lobby moved through each of the qualifying rounds, making their way through the round of 192, the round of 96, and the round of 48. The bottom 6 teams from the Season 1 Grand Finals joined the top 30 from the round of 48 and the last open qualifier round, the round of 36. The 18 teams left standing from the final round earned their spots in the group stage. For the group stage, the top teams from the open qualifier will be joined by even more invited teams from Season 1. The top 6 teams from the Season 1 Grand Finals will qualify straight into a 24-team group stage, alongside the open qualifier teams from Season 2. Teams will be split up into groups of 6, and these groups will face off in a double round-robin format where each group will battle each other in a 12-team lobby twice. This stage will take place across 4 weeks, with 3 game days per week. In the end, the top 8 teams will punch their tickets straight to the finals. The 9th through 20th place teams will earn one last shot in the last chance qualifier, and the bottom 4 teams will be eliminated from the tournament. The Last Chance Qualifier will be a 2-day gauntlet where teams that fail to qualify from the group stage will get their last chance to earn a place in the finals and fight for the title of FFPS Grand Champion. 12 games will give the top 4 teams a shot in the finals, while the remaining teams will be eliminated. The Grand Finals will pit the top 12 teams in North America against each other in a 3-day event. 6 games per day for a total of 18 games will be played for teams to claim their piece of the $50,000 prize pool and for a grand champion to be crowned. Which squad will reign supreme and get their chance to represent North America in the World Series? Tune in to find out.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Free Fire Pro Series. We're in the second half of the LCQs, the first day of the LCQs, not in the second half of the whole LCQs, for this stage of the tournament. Now this is really important. If you're only just joining us, we've just played our first 3 maps of the LCQs. Now the LCQs obviously really important stage of the tournament. Our first 8 teams got through to the finals. They're already safe, they're happy, they're playing next week. No worries for them. These 12 teams are fighting for only 4 positions up here. You can see right now Navy Esports, DN Esports, 1A Esports, and Zundel Esports are right up at the top there, but there's a lot to play for. You can see 4th and 5th, only 1 point separate them, and it's all to play for in every single map, because there's only going to be 12 maps over the 2 days we're playing.
It feels like the biggest difference too is right after we got to under that top 5 and the big difference that it can make. So far, Navy, one of the teams at the top, managing to stay at the top. Sure, not getting all the booyahs going their way, but as long as you have a consistent performance all the way till the end, you're getting those kills. It's making such a massive difference. I mean, 10.3 kills so far off today. Only 1 booyah, like I said, but it's exactly what you want from a last chance qualifier.
Yeah, you can see how well Navy have been performing so far. And they are, I mean, already on 60 points after only 3 maps. That is absolutely wild for a team. And if they can keep that up, they'll be well into that top 4. They'll be very happy after their first day of performance. But we still have 1 game of Kalahari to play before we move to Purgatory. And, well, I mean, the team that we didn't expect to do as well on Kalahari already getting involved, Navy Esports, bringing the fight to DN Esports as well as 1A, who really did a number on those 2 teams over towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I really like seeing 1A popping up at the very end. It's so nice, and it's also kept things very competitive. I feel like every or most of the times that I've personally gotten the chance to see teams, there's 2 or 3 booyahs going for the same team in a row, especially at the beginning. But now we're keeping it a little bit different. We're having a lot more variety into who is going to take that first place into each map we jump to, and that means that the points are more going everywhere, especially for the top 6 that we got to see a little bit early on. But this is another Kalahari, the last Kalahari of the day that we get the chance to see. And now it's what can be done for the teams at the bottom. We already mentioned some of the teams only having 3, 4, 5 points, barely anything to work with. So second half of first day of last chance qualifier, going to be everything for them to have the confidence that tomorrow they can do something.
R15 are back in the game, but not for long it doesn't look like. Not if 1A Esports have anything to say about it. I mean, losing out on points for the last 2 games, or the last 2 maps of this day. And it looks like they're going to be losing out on points for their last, or their 4th, game. Well, only their 2nd game of the day, but the 4th game of today, as 1A Esports start things off just how they ended them last map.
Yeah, and it's already a quick start. Not the first time that we see Laodu, for example, trying to go for those early engagements. And for the end too, this is why they got taken down first into the first Kalahari. Not their best map, but they really need to be careful about the first fight that they try to take. And managing to stay alive, trying to take some high ground against CRJ. And that still doesn't guarantee too much.
Yep, you can see here a little bit of a more of attrition going over towards Shrine here. And Esports holding down the whole Shrine, and ZRJ just kind of waiting on the outside, waiting for them to make a move so that they can start to fire down on top of them. They actually spot Venva up at the top of the ridge there, who now has to hide behind a few rocks to stay alive. Neither of these teams really want to commit to anything, and maybe ZRJ is going to start to run away.
I do like this decision. I mean, they're still hungry for the kills. They're still trying to get them, but not committing fully into a fight that you don't really know how it's going to end up with it. At least have an idea where Renba is. They saw him very early on, going to try to shut him down as soon as possible. But yeah, again, it doesn't seem like it's going to be a full commitment for anyone just yet.
Yep, slow start to the game. DLJ moving away. The next zone is right below them. Really quite a nice zone for teams like Sundell, who sit on top of Refinery. Refinery relatively centered in this next zone. But nobody really has to move very far on this next one. Yeah, and Esports probably the furthest to move, and now ZRJ can kind of edge protect them, but maybe not. There's so much space for them to work with, they could just rotate round to the left or the right and get into zone from another angle, so ZRJ maybe not going to count their chickens before they hatch. Head over towards somewhere else and loot up a little more before they start fights.
Already taking quite a lot of damage. The high ground playing to the best part for Laonu, but also getting shot down. R15, they lost so many members early on. It seems like they were able to get everyone back. Now, once again, caught in a fight.
Yep, Santi takes down Garen from the high ground now. Laonu do almost lose a member of their own. Mario just about picked up before he bled out there. R15 official cannot catch a break so far. They haven't managed to get a kill on the board. They haven't managed to get a knock. Barely managed to do any damage so far in this game. And this is where they really needed it. They were a team that, you know, if they had committed a little more to the group stage, they could have got so many more points than they did. They ended up right in the middle of the kind of teams that headed towards this LCQ. And so far, they're right at the bottom of the leaderboard for this one.
R15 as well. We didn't get to see them in the last two maps, so they have even more pressure to have a really high level performance into this one, into what is left after today, to try to at least make up for the points that they missed. And so far, not looking too hot. Again, they lost so many members. They went for this revive station. Everyone came back, but already caught in the middle of the situation where recovering is so much harder.
Box Gaming have found 1A Esports, who were the first team to get involved with R15 here, and it looks like Box Gaming pretty happy with the way this fight is turning out so far. 2 kills down for them already, and 1 more player knocked on the ground. And it looks like we're going to have 1A in a classic game of let's run away and try and revive the rest of our team before Box Gaming come and finish us off. So that's going to happen. They'll get 3 kills on the board though, Box Gaming, even if they can't finish off the whole squad.
There's also repositioning that we get to see, especially in Kalahari. Those teams that would conquer, for example, the Blue Sun from so early on are teams that already qualified for this grand final. So that means that those spots and those drop spots were empty and ready for other teams to take. So that is why we see a lot more variety of where everyone is going to be positioned, especially into this early round where we've seen a decent amount of action, but not the most aggressive one that we've seen even today, right? 2 of the maps that we got to see was in the first 2 minutes, a team almost, if not fully, getting taken down.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of one of the things with Kalahari is that, yeah, maybe it's an open map, maybe, you know, there's kind of a lot of sight lines onto rotation lines, but when you're in that kind of close quarters combat and you draw a team away from one of your players who's still alive, you can get far away quickly to be able to revive the rest of your team, and that's really important on this. That becomes nice. There we go. Thought he was going to fall to his death there. No, grappling hook over towards the house. Nice from him. Quick way to get off that high ground. You know, you don't want to be stuck on the kind of high ground. It is a nice one to have if you do want to protect this area, but when there's a danger zone right on top of you, Sundell have just... There you go, lecture coming in from the top of the screen. Sundell have just revived one of their members. You don't want to be stuck in this position in this fight, so they're going to drop down off on top of that. While Sundell, I don't think they really spotted them out here. Still reeling from their loss of Electra, so I think just looting up at this point is on the order for them. But Navy, they've already got on the kill feed this game. Let's see if they can get involved with Sundell instead. Sundell get the a bit of surprise on them. Chino is out in the middle of nowhere. Louis might be finished off here before anything else can happen, and Sundell actually involved with 2 teams. Steel Kings managed to get knocked down by one of them as well, but Chris, what is that nade over the heads of one of the players? Lecture there, and completely explodes Jeff.
And one more. That's massive for them in a fight that it looked like they were going to lose early on. Lectra's still on the ground. They might be able to just take the fight to them right now. They push in all the way. All the players are knocked, and Sundell Esports, after getting the first kill of that fight, completely eliminated.
Wow, fully shut down. It's Sundell. They had the right idea. It seems like the engagement could have gone their way. The grenade made an absolute massive difference in who was going to take it and how it was going to go against Sundell. So they are the first team that fully gets taken down. And the last opportunities that they got just faded away so quickly from, once again, that grenade, the damage so close that not even the glue walls were able to protect them when they needed. So moving on, one team out, everyone else remaining, and even though the couple losses, still looking strong.
Yeah. Well, turns out the zone is headed straight towards where it was the last game as well. Off to the right of the map, IT Official and ZRJ involved with each other now. MVP on the ground. All of them run to the aid of their teammates. Junior also down there. Griffo over towards the edge of that fight. He's probably going to bleed out, even if he's not finished by the rest of the team. Sanji going to make sure nobody gets in towards that. ZRJ, you can see one player over towards the north of your minimap, running well away. Once again, this is an integral part of fights now. Jordan, being the reviver for the team at this point, has to get away, revive the rest of his team, and it's such a difference in playstyle. I mean, it's not like this was a recent change. This was in effect throughout the whole of the group stage. We're still seeing teams adapt to this after last year's competition. Is this kind of, you know, you don't want to commit to a fight anymore. If you're going to lose a fight, pull out. Get out of there as soon as it's safe to do so. Get that res on your teammates. It's so much more beneficial to you.
It's something that it's a strategy that a lot of teams, like you said, have been taking some time to adapt to. It's not the easiest thing to do when you have to change your entire playtime, the early rounds, the early engagements that you take, and also when you are in this fight, the ability and the confidence to disengage, to manage, to stay alive over maybe trying to get 1 or 2 kills, where it is definitely possible. But the little change is something that these teams, especially in the last chance qualifier, have a chance to adapt to and see what else, how many points they can get to guarantee those grand final spots.
Well, Bestia are going to try and turn things around for R15 after a not inspiring start to this map. Rest of the team flanking that. Rambok's gonna start to run him down, but there come the rest of the R15 official players from behind. Bestia finally finished off by Samu. Now it's all about trying to take down Diablo, who's coming in from the other side of this road here. And there is actually another R15 player flanking the rest of Rambox. Rambox did manage to get their player back up, so they're fully back on track to win this fight. Didn't quite work out how R15 would have wanted, but they can still win this one. I've seen stranger things happen.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be a possibility here. R15, after taking some early damage, still managing to keep 2 of the players alive, to wait for when the chance is the best for that engagement that they've been waiting for. But once again, a team that has so much to catch up to after not being here for 2 maps, and also trying to get a little bit of the high ground that we get to see to shut down, to kill a couple of the members on the other side.
Yeah. One more player knocked for them. They are down to 1 player alive. There you go, Doba. Finish off. It's just Diablo left, and they did manage to get a knock, but I don't think they're going to manage to finish any kills. I mean, with 4 players standing, even if you do get a knock, 2 knocks, maybe even 3 knocks, you've got so many players alive on the enemy team that they can just res that, put up a glue wall, res it back up. It's now back to a 1v4, and, you know, it's very difficult to win that kind of fight. I'm surprised that Diablo got away from that. I think did disengage. Yeah, effectively. You might be able to see on the map later on. Well away from that, actually joining the solo member of Laonu by himself towards the bottom of the map. I mean, they do have the rest of the team with them. It's just not in the same location as them. DRJ also down to 1 member towards the top. This is a much more mid-game heavy game in this one than we saw in the last map of this. So we can see Laonu starting to get the rest of the members back up to 4.
Yep.
Lovely for them, but with the game so close to the end, so close to the climax, with 10 teams left, it's going to be very difficult to, you know, get get those resources back, get those guns back, and get back involved in the game.
Especially in a way that you're trying to get a good momentum going on, and Hacks on the other side, a little bit of a better positioning for this next engagement that we get to see from so far away is RPG. Having getting a good amount of kills, but now have to contest this positioning in the map where they can be completely surrounded, and it seems like Hacks, they want to go for this approach.
And they run. Rambox Gaming, a formidable opponent. They come around the corner. That's a great crossfire from Hags, though. Do manage to get one knock. Not quite the second. Knocked down themselves. IT Official, in the meantime, eliminated 10th. Managed to get themselves 1 point for placement, but no more than that. In move the rest of Hags. Doing a lot of damage now. Oh, trying to stay away. Somehow just not hitting the shots. No! Completely taken down. Looks like Rambox Gaming. Nope, they do get eliminated in the end. Shot in the back, I think, by Prince there from Laonu, saving Rivera. Now Rivera is the solo player of his team, Hags. I mean, they won the fight, but at what cost at this point? You're right next to the whole Laonu squad now. The chances of you winning this fight is not as high as the chance of you winning that last fight against Rambox.
We have 4 teams as well right now, with only 1 player alive, hoping for those revive stations, hoping to have enough to allow the team to come back alive. But the chances for that at this point, when so much time has passed, they're very, very low. So yeah, last one that's shot down here on side of the end, we won't see them again. And one by one, those teams with a single member are getting taken down. It's only R15 and CRJ hoping for those revives. Everyone else, all the way to the top, this top 4 teams managing to get in a really good positioning, not going for those engagements just yet.
Yeah, it really is important to get the position right before you get in that engagement, because you start that fight, it's not ending until one of those teams dies, or, you know, the zone pushes you into a place where you can't carry on fighting. Oh, headshot from Pabi Camus. Down on to 1A Esports, the winners of last map. ZRJ in the meantime, taken out. Only 1 member was left of that squad, so all it took was 1 bullet to finish that. 1A Esports now have to try and defend this kind of area, which is not a nice area to defend. It's not in the zone. It's not favorable in terms of hard cover either, so now they have to move all the way out there. They have to leave the members that are downed on the ground because they still have to move. The zone is just going to keep eating them up if they do this. Navy is just taking this opportunity to fire down on top of them, make sure they don't go absolutely anywhere. There we go. Last player eliminated, 1A Esports down. Dual Kings doing quite well for themselves on 3 kills. They're one of the teams that really needs points, but Navy have a lovely position. They get another knock onto Papi Camus. Got a lot of cover to work with here. Look at that.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of cover, which is something that we didn't really get to see before. And they have to go for this. They have to go for those seals. They have to go for any sort of protection while everyone else is getting closer to this team to try to shut them down. As of right now, though, it's Laonu losing more members the more that we get to see from them. They've been getting very close in some scenarios, but when it comes to the top 5, this is when they're getting shut down.
Yeah. This is going to be so difficult because everyone needs to move now. Nobody is in this last zone, and there's really nothing to work with in that last zone in terms of, well, space. There's no space to work with whatsoever. Everybody needs to move in. Everybody's going to have to utilize glue walls in this, meaning they can't commit glue walls in these fights lest they have no cover to work with in that last zone.
Yeah.
So Dual King's coming away quite nicely. Laonu also getting on the board. Look at the amount of kills they're throwing onto Navy. Navy being completely crippled now. R15 official finally get finished off. Laonu seem to be winning every single engagement in this last fight. For a team that was knocked down to 2 players earlier on in the map, Dual Kings have lost 1 player to them. The whole Navy Esports side has been taken down by them. Now all they have to do is stay where they are and work with what they've got. And they have got pretty much... well, they've got no cover, but Dual Kings, I mean, are stuck behind a rock at this point. They can't go anywhere. They're only pinching them from every side. The glue walls come up to try and keep them alive, but they're just going to get sprayed down by the rest of the squads. Look at the way it's just fish in a barrel at this point. They turn around the corner. There's only 1 player left standing, and they're down. Dual Kings get taken out in their duel against Laonu. Laonu's first booyah of the LCQs.
So nice to see for Laonu. It started slow, and I mentioned it a little bit earlier. It's how much you're able to recover after very slow momentum going on into the first, second map as well. But now Onu is able to do that perfectly. And you mentioned it too. They're able and they were winning those fights, those duels right when they needed to at the very, very end. And the very passive positioning that they started to take into a more aggressive one where they were completely surrounding the side of DK to get away with those kills. And those glue walls invested a little too early would have been too risky. Moving out of positioning a little bit earlier would have been too risky. So they waited for that perfect opportunity in Laonu. They're able to capitalize from that. They're able to get the booyah and they're able to get those points, right? We mentioned not the best start for them today, but this is so, so nice to see.
Sometimes it really is about, how you play your cards when you do get involved in a fight with another team, and only playing it very smart in every engagement they were in. I think, Navy obviously an incredibly capable team, and the ONU knew that it was going to be difficult to take them down in that last fight, but they waited until Duel Kings got involved with Navy, until other teams started firing upon them, and then they just took advantage of that opportunity, pushed in on them, made sure they didn't go anywhere. That first knock was so essential to keeping the rest of them on that one, and then it was just a kind of domino effect from there. ONU, I mean, they were always going to win that fight against Duel Kings. Duel Kings were stuck in one position.
Yeah.
ONU had full reign of the rest of the zone. They could run in from all sides, and they were just firing down on top of this team. You could see Navy even had done a lot of damage to them, had used up a lot of their glue walls, had used up a lot of their healing already, so I mean, it was a lovely zone for La ONU, and they just made the best of what they were dealt with, and did a great job of it. So good for them, and we've seen different winners on all maps so far. I think it's been a very long time since we've seen different winners of every map on a day. I hope that continues. That would be lovely to see 6 different teams winning each different map.
It's a perfect narrative for this last chance qualifier. Everyone really fighting to get to the top, and everyone at least trying to do it, managing to do it for these 4 teams that we've seen today, right? And it's a performance that started really well for some, and that turned out to be something that can be playing against them into, especially Kalahari and all of these maps. They play so different, and they've played so different from the very early engagements to who is going to take that booyah at the end of the day. But yeah, like you said, the variety, really nice to see. So rare to see, but it's the opportunity that is working out perfect when you take down those top teams that already qualified for the grand finals, and you give the chance to the mid-table to show what they got as well.
Yeah, I'm very glad it's not just one team running away with things. It does make things a lot more exciting towards the bottom. Obviously, Navy doing consistently very well. Maybe not winning every game, maybe not getting a lot of kills every game, but they have been consistently getting points on the board. Absolutely. Their cumulative total kills is well up to 38 or so now over every map. And I think it's just a great performance from them, but it's really the story about, DN Esports, who've had subpar performances on some of these maps, but not popped off on some of them. 1A Esports, who, again, they've been a very consistent performer, getting in towards the top kind of 5 teams on every map so far, getting kills on every map, so they're up in the top 3 of these teams. ONU so far haven't had such a great game in these last 3 maps, but they absolutely had a brilliant one in this one. I think they got 27 points. We'll see how that stacks up. I can't be certain on that one, but I think we'll see very soon if that was correct. And they'll be well involved up into the top 5 teams of the LCQ so far. Obviously, 8 more maps to play over the weekend, so lots of time to, well, not lots of time actually whatsoever, but a few more maps to get involved. Obviously, if you're 30 points down, if you're 50 points down, still able to make up that difference is what I mean. So in the grand scheme of things, quite nice for them. 27 points it is for La ONU. Duel Kings, who came second with 12. Navy Esports, once again, putting 17 points on the board. I think they've managed to get over 10 each map so far, so very consistent from them.
Yeah, super consistent from them in terms of the kills and the way that they execute those plays to stay alive and to actually be able to get to that performance and to get those consistent points more than anything, even if they don't end up in the top 2 or 3 every single time. So there is the key that we talked about, that consistency and how much it can play into giving you the top 4 that is going to be needed for the last chance qualifier. Because look at that, is Navy Esports, sure, not getting every single booyah, only getting 1 so far, but managing to stay at the top, and there's only 2 maps left today, so it's only something that we can expect because you look at the difference that everyone has, and that is where the inconsistency is going to cost you the most. You don't have the same amount of points. Sundell, that was in the position number 4, I believe, before, now dropping a little bit, and you start sweating. You start getting your team nervous to question, can I get to those 70 points that Navy already has, or do I have to change something? Do I have to change what the strategy that I've been playing before, going for this res, going for that passive style that for the teams at the bottom is not really working out. We talked about it. Schoolbreaker, for example, when it being one of the teams that we mentioned, they're getting taken down early. They're going for those late engagement, and it seems like they have such a passive play style that uh, you cannot really do anymore. You cannot approach anymore because the points, the kills, the damage is going to really allow your team to go to the top.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, right, it's going to be margins of very small amounts. You can see right now, the margin between 4th and 5th is a tiebreaker. It's not any points whatsoever, 39 for both of them. Maybe Navy Esports are going to be too far to catch by the end of today. They are running away with it just a little bit. But that 4th is always going to be in reach, and that 4th is really what matters. Getting in the top 4 is the only thing that matters for all of these teams right now.
Yeah.
There's no massive prize for the winners of this one. There's nothing like this. It's just the privilege of getting into the grand finals with the top 8 teams that we saw finish last week. So really, everybody, the end of today is really going to say, this is how many points you need to get by the end of the LCQs, and this is how difficult it's going to be to do it. The higher P4 is in this one, really sets the tone for teams like Skullbreakers, who so far, I mean, you have 2 good games, suddenly you're into the top 4 right now, but as the amount of games that you have to play left drops suddenly, we're going down from 8 so far, 8 more maps left in the LCQs. We go down from that to 6 by the end of today. It's starting to become, we need to win 33% of games just to get into that top 4 now. So really, really starting to ramp things up competition-wise as we finish off with Purgatory for today. We're going to be heading in for our last 2 maps of the day.
Yeah, and so it should be a good one, like you said. No, there aren't really many maps left. It's going to be 6 tomorrow, 2 for today, to see what can be done in Purgatory. There's teams maybe at the bottom that can really play for this map and really make a difference in this map. This is really the last chance to get it done. And maybe Schoolbreaker, I've seen some decent performance from them in this map. It is a team that we have to continually talk about because there's so much at risk. You need to get to the top 4, and it's going to be very competitive from the 5th to maybe 8th, 9th spot where everyone is going to be located. And it's only a matter of the kills that you get, those double digits. If you're able to guarantee them, it's going to do everything for them. But so far in a Purgatory that we haven't seen before today, you already have to bring something new to the table.
Yeah, Skullbreakers are really going to have to bring something new to the table here because looking over the stats are actually one of the worst performing teams over the whole of the group stage on Purgatory, seeming to get most of their points from Kalahari, so their problems might get a little bit worse by the end of today. But we'll see. Maybe they have brought in some new strats for the LCQs. The competition has ramped up so much at this point that, some things, it's just different. The nature of the competition is so different. That it really doesn't matter how well you performed in that group stage overall, although we are seeing a pretty big mirror of, how teams performed in group stage compared to this. Very similar, your top 2 teams being Navy Esports, DN Esports, 2 teams that were at the top of the group stage, or at least the top of the teams that got into the LCQs from the group stage, discounting those top 8. Rambox Gaming will start things off with pretty much a squad wipe on Laonu. There's only 1 player left standing. Let's see. Have they got well away? They have. Mario, over towards the bottom of the fire brigade down there, is just trying to get away. The nearest revive zone is towards Lumber Hill, if I remember correctly, where 1A Esports are currently occupying that area.
And if Laonu gets taken down, it would be now the second time today where the team that just got the Booyah is the team that also gets taken down first into that next map. So once again, just keeping it competitive, keeping it, to a point where no one is really comfortable with their performance. You cannot just make mistakes or change things around where you shouldn't. It's going to be being so aware of the positioning that everyone could be taking, everyone that could be hiding in different corners, different spots as well, behind trees. There's gotta be everything. So Laonu, only one member alive is going to be Mario, and let's see how far he's able to get. Maybe get that revive.
Yeah, I mean, they went down to 2 members in that fight with Rambox Gaming once again, over towards the sub last game, and they managed to win that map. So maybe, you know, they can keep that one back up. In the meantime, everybody else getting involved with each other. There we go. The fight between the Sundell Esports and Duel Kings kicks off. Trades either way. Virtual on the ground, as well as Munoz. And run around a little bit. Let's see. Will anybody... Maybe they're disengaged from each other a little bit. You can see Sundell Esports splitting up and going for little flanks, going for just trying to take area. You know, Duel Kings are stuck up there. You know this. You know that it's going to be difficult to get out of there, so maybe your best choice is to just surround them. Make sure they can't move. In the meantime, they have fought their way out on that first one. And Extra manages to finish that one off, so down to a 3v3 now.
And Sundell, this is something they like to do. They like to split up just enough to catch the enemy off guard and to maybe create a little bit of distraction to work with. So they're going to try to do it again. It already had some decent results, but it also means that they are so vulnerable to the damage that is coming in from the other side.
And you see that come through, like you're down on the ground as Duel Kings decide to just run out of that full pace and take the fight to Sundell Esports, which I think is actually a brilliant choice from them. It turned the fight in their favor massively. Took them by surprise, nicely. Dario trying to get well away from this team. Again, once again, we're seeing just this mechanic of run away from the rest of the team. But only one can probably get away of this Sundell side. 2 members are alive, so it doesn't matter if one of them is taken down by Duel Kings. Although Duel Kings will get some points on the board, which they sorely need. I mean, obviously they came second last game, but they are not out of the woods yet whatsoever. Dariel is not going to get away. That'll be that.
Oh. There's going to be everyone here almost taken down Sundell. With a very tough start, and it's gonna be just trying to run away. Seems like we'll be able to do just that, at least for now, but this is a very similar start than we got into see today, right? A lot of teams taking damage, losing quite a lot of members, and just hoping for those revives to make a difference into the late game, into the late of what can happen in this map. So Sundell taking quite a lot, but also the kills, not too bad for them just yet. Skullbreaker also just in a little bit of trouble, 2 members alive.
Yeah. Skullbreakers are right on top of a revive station. They should be getting those up. And as we've seen, Laonu have got 3 of their members back up. So, back up on their feet for now. See how they take that into the next game. You see Navy, we will in a bit, have rotated well away from the rest of the teams. I think they just want to protect points at this point. Everybody else, you know, taking the attack to other teams and really want to get points on the board. You really want to catch up with the points leaders at this point in Navy. In that, you know, if you let them get too far away from you, you're essentially playing for top 3, you know, against the rest of the teams. It'll be 3 out of 11, not 4 out of 12. You know, you let the kill leaders get so far ahead, that position is completely unreachable for everybody else. And yeah, you're just playing for second place is your best thing to do, and therefore you have less places to play for. So if you can catch up to them, you can kind of ride to their tailcoats along for the rest of the LCQs and take points away from other teams in that sense.
The zone also looking to have a northeast approach into what we get to see, similar to what we saw in that first Kalahari, which means that all the teams that like to play at the bottom, like to play on the west side, they're gonna have to move. And we already see it from Skullbreaker. We get to see it for DN as well. A long way to go before making it. And that means that the positioning is going to play so well into R15. But how long is he alive? Because IT has already spotted them.
Yeah, this hill. We've seen so many fights at this hill on Purgatory over the last few weeks. And it's going to happen once again as IT official try and defend from R15, but R15 just run them over bulldozer style. 4 kills for them. 4 sorely needed kills for them. Danger Zone lands right on top of them. They're going to have to run away from that, but they'll be very happy with... that's their first team fight won.
FFNA team getting taken down again. Not the best results that they've had throughout the day. Not really a team that has been able to stay consistent until the end. We see them getting maybe a couple kills, but that's it. So first team that gets shot down into this Purgatory. What else can they do? Zundo still one member alive, still going for that revive, still hoping that there's a possibility. While everyone else, including R15, managing to steal the top of the kills, still managing to find the answers.
Jewel King's got a taste for blood earlier on. They're trying to keep that up. Skullbreakers segmented. Flubber on the ground. 2 members left over towards the other houses. I think they do have a 4th, but he's well back in zone at this point. Jewel Kings maybe had enough. Yeah, they're just staying away from it. They got their finish, and now they're off. The next zone is a long way away. Can't be distracted by these small fry. Let's head out of here. So yeah, gotta scale the hill and get out of there. I mean, it's good choices from them. You know, getting involved with a fight with a team that is well outside of zone already, maybe not the best choice for you if you do need to run very far away. So it's good prioritization from them, I would say.
For the kid, this is also so much better than we got to see earlier, where they weren't really getting pretty much any kills into the early game, and then they found out the way. They have 4 to go on, and even though they made it until the end, until the top 4, it's just a matter of getting the damage and getting enough points to keep your team all the way at the top. So already so much better, but it's not over. They still have some fights that they have to take, just like we see RBG trying to contest our 15 again.
Now in come Rambox Gaming on top of Laonu here. Prince trying to defend, but Rambox Gaming, who have already put Laonu down to 1 member once, looking to stop them from even having 1 member alive this time. A lot of damage down on top of these, and once again, we're seeing 1 member of Laonu run away, but now, I mean, Rambox Gaming have got 6 kills from Laonu alone. They do have more problems to deal with, though, as 1A Esports are getting involved now. 1A Esports, this is their favorite map. This is the map that they have performed best on over the whole group stage of all 3 of them. See if they can make something happen here, because they haven't really got involved yet in this map.
A little bit unlike 1A, who are trying to go for those engagements. We've seen them coming up on top of them as well. And R15 that was caught right in the middle. Lost so many members, only had 1, but now back alive, or at least 2 more. Gurren and Diablo come back, and they give a chance for this team to stay alive. And you know, it's just almost a narrative that we have to keep going. It's so many booyahs going to so many different teams. Now it's gotta be someone new too.
Yep. Hags now on top of Navy. Navy trying to protect their lead right now. Doing a good job of it so far. Hags just about winning the fight, though, and Navy are down without any placement points. They come away with a few kill points on that one, but not their best performance. To be fair, we don't expect them to get too many points on Purgatory and Kalahari, so the fact that they're so far ahead right now is uncharacteristic for them. 1A Esports, who's, well, this map is their favorite. Unlike Navy Esports, taken down. 1 fell swoop by Rambox Gaming.
So the 2 teams that we expected to perform here, even though Navy haven't had the best performance in this map, because they've been consistent, it was almost built up for them to almost make it to the end again, and that wasn't a possibility. 1A also down, and that once again is giving more opportunities for those teams that haven't gotten a booyah today, haven't gotten too many kills, to get to the top. Is a perfect opportunity. It's really built up for a challenge like this one. Schoolbreaker, for example, at the bottom, also caught in the middle, and with everyone pretty much positioned in a different area. So risky to take. They're gonna be caught potentially in the middle of the action between what Hags is trying to do and also what CRJ is trying to do.
Yeah, Oldsundel Esports finished off by DN. DN, who had a brilliant start to today, and kind of we forgot about them over the next few maps because they really just didn't make any impact in map 2, map 3, map 4, barely either. So I mean, they'll be looking to get themselves back up. I mean, it's not like they've had a bad day whatsoever. They got a booyah. You know, they got some points in maps 3 and 4. But they definitely do need to, just keep themselves in the top 4 for the end of today. Definitely.
Yeah.
Duel Kings, though, is a team that's been warming up and warming up and warming up over the whole course of the day. The team that is, or came into the LCQs, the worst on paper. So the fact that they have consistently got better over the course of this is very good for them.
It's a team that was at risk on those group stages until the very end, and it was almost a fight that we got to see from them in OG to make this last qualifier. And now, like you said, they've been warming up. They've been looking a little bit better and better the more that we get to see them today. It's a point where now all the preparation has to explode into this one, has to take them to at least that top 4 in this map alone and give them the points that are going to be the most important for them. So DK so far, a little bit of a passive playstyle, looking and waiting for the proper engagement while everything around them is going down.
Here we go. Any Sports trying to stake their claim on some of these later games. Onu down to 1 member right next to them. They have a little ways to go here. You can see R15 and ZRJ involved with each other once again. R15 down to 1 player, Bestia here, by themselves. Which is really difficult for the team that, they started things off very well with a team wipe. And now down to 1 member, just trying to play for position, and ZRJ are surrounding them as they search for hags here, as they search for position in this next zone. You can see Bestia trying to flank them, and not probably to get kills, just to stay alive. Oof, very close to a headshot on Rivera. That was Junior, not managing to get the kill. Those Skullbreakers eliminated 8th. Unfortunate for them. Again, a team right at the bottom, haven't got any points, barely. R15 official, Bestia got found out by ZRJ. They had to turn around to fight other members, and then suddenly that was all over for them. But they have successfully slowed down ZRJ, who are now just taking fire from 2 teams and the zone at the same time.
Pretty much completely surrounded here, and everywhere they go, they're going to have to see some damage to blow out the only protection but DN. It's such a nice position around the tower, around this mountain view, at the high ground to get the kills. And it's really turning out to be the right way for them. Everyone alive.
Yep. Pretty well now. And they're going to take the fight to the kill lead as Rambox. We're vying for, the dominance of this map so far. And I mean, neither of them are really in the next zone. Neither of them are really getting nice positioning here.
Triple kill.
On DN Esports, get into the top 3 by taking out Laonu, final player of that team, and they're heading straight towards Duel Kings. And they get the drop on them. They have the high ground. Oh, and the nades. They managed to dodge most of the nades at the very least, but in rush, DN Esports. That's a lot of damage. All down now, 3 members on the ground, and that's it. Duel Kings completely run over. Oh, DN Esports have done all the hard work for Rambox.
This is a wonderful aggression coming in for DN. Having to drop, having to go for that low ground just to get the kills, but they know it's going to be, 14 going in for them. Booyah as well. And there it is, that's the second one. So now we don't get to see a new one taking that victory. Is going to be DN. And the way that they capitalize from that too.
Yeah, obviously, I'm very happy to see DN Esports back on that Booyah, because they really didn't get many points before that. So maybe they're a team that just get all of their points from Booyahs, and here we go. So I think another well over 20-point game for them. Rambox getting 2nd place. They got a lot of kills earlier on in the game, so they'll be pretty happy with their performance as well. But we saw a lot of teams that really needed points getting points that game, so this should even things out a little bit. Navy eliminated earlier on in the game. I think it was by R15 earlier up on that hill. But that's really, really good for these teams that really needed to catch up, that we were talking about, by the end of today, if you need to make up more than, 40, 50 points, it's going to be very difficult for you. So they'll be very happy to just get that little extra edge going into tomorrow as we head to our last map of the day.
The Duel Kings being one of those teams that we needed to see a high-level performance from, and they were able to deliver just that, managing to get, I believe, 2nd or 3rd coming in and just finding those answers, playing a little bit more passive, but I believe we saw 14 kills, so also balancing the aggression with the positioning around the map to keep them alive until the very end. And it is exactly what is going to be needed to get those points to make things a little bit more even for everyone that is competing in this tournament, where you see it, sure, they get away with the second Booyah of the day, but that doesn't mean they're ever going to be comfortable. Things can change around, kills can happen very quickly, so you always have to be as aware as possible to give the benefit and to give the advantage to your own team.
Yeah, this should catch them up nicely to Navy. I'm not sure if it'll take them over the edge and give them more points than Navy by the end of this game, but it's very good for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be very close, as Navy were knocked out quite earlier on. But yeah, that's going to give them a nice edge over a team like Rambox, who they got more points in that game. They're extending that lead to the danger zone, as it were, in 4th position, 5th position of the LCQs here. So it looks like DN Esports and Navy are going to be the two teams that everybody else is kind of fighting against to just steal points from them. 1A Esports really not doing as well on this map as we'd have expected. So they might be slipping down a little ways to Rambox Gaming there. And Duel Kings, who, I mean, were close to that, should be very close to the top 4 now. We will see how they shift things about. But I definitely think that DN Esports and Navy are going to be running away with things now. There you go, 26 points for DN Esports.
Yeah, that is a lot to work with for DN, especially, you know, it being the second Booyah and the first time that we see those Booyahs repeating for today. The kills as well, 14, something that I saw towards the end and that also caught my attention because we haven't seen a lot of double-digit kills coming in from the teams today. It's been pretty much even across the top 6, if anything. But is DN stepping up when they needed to the most? And I want to see how close they're going to look like compared to what we saw from Navy.
Well, with a lot of kills on the board after that game, Edvin 5, Patoyo 4, Venva 3. It's going to be a nice boon for them heading into this one. I mean, look, they've got 2 Booyahs. 2 Booyahs, there you go, yeah. 2 Booyahs is enough to take them past. A very comparable amount of kills to Navy. But you can see how the average positioning has affected them here, because with only 2 kills more than Navy, they're only 2 points ahead, despite having a Booyah, which means Navy has consistently performed better in terms of positioning, which has allowed them to stay that close to DN Esports. But you can see they're both pulling away now from Rambox Gaming, who is in 3rd place by, well, about 25 points there, which is a pretty nice difference. That's one very good game of difference there between those two teams, so they can kind of relax a little bit towards the end of the day, maybe not as much as they'd like. I'm sure both DN Esports and Navy would have wanted to get more points towards the end of the day, but you can see how well DN Esports have done here. Average placement of 4.4, so not, you know, not a podium team by any means, but with an average kills of 9.4, getting rid of 2 squads per game, they're going to be very happy with that. You can see everybody getting well involved on this one. And yeah, no, I mean, it's very good from them to get 2 Booyahs, and it puts them just over the edge, just where they need to be.
Venva is also one of the players that we've gotten to see quite a lot with the high-level performance when he's taken down other teams and other players individually. And on the other side, Navy Esports that we get to see now also looking pretty close to what we see from DN, right? So 9 average kills and everything looking, sure, pretty standard, but for the first results that we need in the last chance qualifier, they are delivering what is expected and what is going to be needed. Chino, that got in a pretty good performance in the first 2 games, was able to get the support for the rest of the team for this last maps that we got in the chance to see from Ramon, from Luis as well, that we've seen performing to a high level, getting kills from far away, and really making a difference where everyone is here kind of balanced out in the way that they need to get to the second spot that we see. And it's interesting, right? We get to see the leaderboard again, and first and second spot, the 3rd and 4th, and the 5th and 6th spot, they are so close to each other in points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even between those, not a lot of points separate. You can see only, what, a 6-7 point difference between Duel Kings and 1A Esports, so really all to play for, even going into the end of today. And if there's, if there's less than 10 points difference between 5th and 4th, that last day of competition is going to be absolutely nerve-wracking for every team in there, even DN Esports and Navy, who, the target is not going to leave their backs in a 2-day competition, so they really do need to keep these performances up. We saw, Navy kind of backing off in that game. They really didn't want to get into fights. They were kind of trying to just maximize their points without investing too much and maybe losing out too quickly, which unfortunately they did that game. But I don't think they can do that. I don't think you can employ that strategy of, oh, we have enough points, let's just sit on our haunches this time. Because you need all the points you can get. Every point you can get going into the end of today is going to give you that edge over everybody else tomorrow. And if you kind of give up now, or not give up, but if you kind of, play it slower now, everybody is going to have that opportunity to overtake you coming into the end of today.
So yeah, it's gonna be one last purgatory to see how things are going to be looking like at the end, how the leaderboard is going to end up looking like. So teams that we get to see at the top, they want to have the performance, but like you said, they can play a little bit more back instead of the aggression that we see from them in some scenarios very early on, and they can give the perfect opportunity for teams like R15 or for teams like RBJ to get a little bit higher as it is going to be needed from them. You don't want to end up today knowing that there's only 2 days to last chance qualifier and pretty much a negative result where you don't even have 20 points to work with. So the pressure once again has to be put from the beginning, and it seems like CRJ have to already take some damage from that school breaker. They're going for it early on.
Yeah. Trying to take out CRJ, but they've already taken a casualty here, down to 3 players within the first 10 seconds of dropping or so. See, Hags and R15 are also doing the same with the other side, but they do fire back on Jordan. And now it's a 3v3 between these two teams, both with 1 kill in hand. Do either team really want to keep this fight going? It's going to drain resources for this first fight, and it'll leave them low later on. Meanwhile, Hags and R15 have decided that they definitely want to keep this fight going, and R15 are coming away so far in control, but it's so close. And once again, when you're in these early fights, you have almost nothing to work with. You have to use the hard cover that's available to you. You have to use whatever limited weaponry is available to you. It might not be a gun you're comfortable with, it might not be an area you're comfortable with, but it seems like R15 are invigorated towards the end of the day to get as many points as they can.
It seems like it's in their eyes, it's gotta be done. It's gotta be that early aggression, and sure, it's not the most comfortable victory that you can take and the most comfortable damage that you can take as well, but it has to go their way. And so far, Bestia, Garena as well, delivering those results, but going so low to be able to get just a couple kills to start it off for so far.
Well, here we go once again. Zundel and 1A. 1A really want to prove what they are capable of on this map against Zundel here, because they really didn't show it last map. They get kills. They're getting members on the ground. Waldy's still outside, hurting out there. Oh, what a great timing on that shot from Ghost. They'll be able to get the res back up, and Zundel down to 1 player now. Well, 1A Esports start off the game right. Maybe it's about finishing the game right. They're searching now for that last Zundel player to make sure they don't have anything to worry about later on. But if he can get away, I think he's been spotted. There we go. Okay, the chase is on.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of damage that the side of Zundel has to take from far away. 1A wanting to go for this engagement. This is an engagement that we often see up from the other side, from Zundel, right? Coming up and getting really, really close to the enemy, but this time around is 1A going for it and actually capitalizing from it. Ghost being able to get away with that kill.
Well, a little bit of tactical crouching after that one.
Yeah.
Zundel was one of the teams that really crippled 1A Esports in that first map of this one, and they, obviously a lot to prove, and also, I mean, they're fighting directly with Zundel Esports, obviously, the whole time. They're only 20 points different right now, which, might sound like not too much right now. In this kind of scenario, that is actually a decent gap, but still, losing to Zundel Esports there would have been quite annoying for them, because it would mean they're probably missing out on the top 4 by the end of the day, which means they have to do a lot more work tomorrow.
Yeah.
You really just want to get as much done today that you don't have to worry about tomorrow as much. 1A Esports running out into the danger zone against Laonu. Maybe not the best choice for that. Mario, a few quick shots will finish that. And he actually gets off the res on Milo as well, right after that one as well, which is a ballsy move from him. Laonu feeling pretty confident maybe after their last few performances.
Yeah. I mean, they've been able to do pretty good. They've been able to answer a couple of the questions that we had from them the first 2-3 maps where it wasn't really looking too good. But now, the confidence and also the factor of this last map that always plays into wanting to play more aggressive, going for those engagements, being a little bit more careless of the very, very careful plays that we're more likely to see towards the beginning. But this last map is a little bit more of opportunity to get those kills, to take those risks and see how much they can get from it. So Laonu only 1 kill so far, but looking and actively trying to find those engagements.
Absolutely. DK playing very passively now. I think with only 3 members, it seems like they don't really want to get involved too much, knowing that they don't have the advantage in the fight. They're staying well towards the edge of the map. And just waiting out there to the right. IT official trying to get their members back up. They're well outside of the zone. They need to start moving very quickly now. But this is much more spread out, much less kind of mid-game heavy in this one where you know, there is going to be a lot of mystery about this last few zones because with a lot of water to work with down towards the south of the map, teams are going to have to really think about their position well before those last couple rings present themselves to them.
There's also a little bit more protection than we get to see as the zone closes. There's more angles to take, and there's more risky positioning as well. Like we see for R15, they're trying to get a grip on this area, get a little bit more confidence to work with. As on the other side is 1A waiting for them and trying to shut them down too.
There we go. Ghost. Whoa. The rune comes to his rescue there a little bit, but R15 fighting back, getting involved, and it looks like they might win that fight. 1A Esport again knocked out in a way that they really wouldn't want. R15 with 8 kills. The kill leaders now, a team right towards the bottom. There is a 9-point difference to their closest team, which is IT Official, and what, almost 30 points now different? Well, more than 30 points probably difference between them and the safety zone of 4th place.
You can see the hunger on this sort of R15 to get away with a booyah, to get away with a good amount of points. So we've seen it more and more. The more maps we get to see and the more we get to see from them. They are absolutely on fire into this one, trying to get more kills, and they have the potential, they have the confidence to do it. It's the last map, it's the last chance to do it today.
Here we go. Rambox Gaming trying to fend off now DN. Firing at them, the winners, well, the current winners, current point leaders, current pretty much everything right now. Holding on to their Purgatory win. Although they're kind of stuck here. Maybe they didn't want to present themselves when they're so stuck in this camper van area. Robots Gaming have a nice position over towards Fire Brigade. They can just kind of fire back without having to commit too hard to the fight. DN Esports are stuck where they are if they do get involved too heavily. Navy, so trying to take the fight to Onu. Now Onu taking some casualties, but not as many as Navy would like coming into this.
Yeah.
I think it's down to 2 apiece here.
A little bit more as well that got taken down into the early fights. So Launu managing to see Mario very low, almost shot down here. Wow. And this could be the end of Launu. That is the aggression that I was expecting from the enemy to capitalize from those positionings too.
Ouch. Yeah, Navy seem to have brought that fight back in their favor. You can see the last member of Launu characteristically running away. Not that Launu are known for running away, because every team runs away now towards the end of fights. So, well, they'll stay alive at the very least, but Navy Esports getting themselves some much needed points to keep themselves ahead of the rest, head and shoulders above everybody else. You can see Mario's raising up the rest of his team now, up in the top right. ZRJ playing it safely after their early round engagement. Up on 4 kills, but playing it quite safe towards the south of the map.
You know, R15 as well, we got to see them taking down a couple teams down right in the middle of that zone, pretty much. And that means that they had a little bit more time to get into the high ground, into a little bit of high ground as well. We see them a little bit spread across that area too, but that means that the information, that communication they can have can be so nice to take down everyone who's coming close to them.
firing shots now. R15 quite confident. You can see how far spread they are, how they're just kind of running around on high ground now. After their 2 team fight wins. And now kind of surrounding Duel Kings. Do they see out Furkshow on the other side? Yeah, they do. They're firing shots over towards him as well. So, knowing the positioning of all these Duel Kings players is very nice for them if they can spread out and not kind of make any gaps in their defense, which, that's a gap. That is a gap. Bestia is on the ground and dead. So that is definitely a gap. Them spreading out did not work out too well for them already. Duel Kings have performed quite well in the past couple of maps, so maybe this isn't the team that you wanted to play this confidently against.
It could be a little bit of overconfidence as well, and so far for R15 it was working, but it's a point where everyone is so spread out into such an open area where you're only taking risks by doing so. So that the grouping up and that trying to work, yeah, we already immediately see how much is working. You're able to shut down someone from DK, from that low ground, from that distance, and it keeps R15 alive, which is really all that matters right now. They want to get to the top 4 again. They want to get a little bit more kills. They don't want to go down just yet. And 9 kills for them so far. It's pretty good.
Yeah, very happy with that one. And if they can keep it up, it'll get them right within the runnings to perform well tomorrow. Do they get that kill? Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Pabicam is on the floor. Maybe the Canary for Duel Kings, but that nade is going to do a lot of damage for the final player, and that shot will finish him off. R15, 11 kills. That's almost as many points as they have gained over the past 5 maps.
It's insane. It's the last map factor. I want to say that the last aggression that you can put, the last surprises that you can bring for today, and you just have to do it. Just have to go for it. For R15, it's really turning out to give them the right results, the right answers that they couldn't find into any of the maps that we got to see it before. So they managed to win that one, but the zone so small now, and so many teams remaining, still 7.
There you go. Very tightly packed in the 3rd zone. I mean, 3rd zone is quite a early time for the end of game kind of scenario to be coming around. But it is nonetheless, it is a smaller map than Kalahari. So maybe that's contributing to this one, as we're all by lumber here. Lots of verticality to this last zone in a map that isn't known for its verticality whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how the teams play this one. Bestia using his glider to get all the way down there, and you can see not really much of the fighting is going on around the actual zone. It's going around the hard cover over towards lumber outside of the zone. That's what everybody is interested in right now. Think about the zone later. Get the kills, get the control of an area that's quite safe right now.
And R15, they're already in this positioning, so it's only going to play positively for them until they really have to move, which, as of right now, is not going to be the case. Trying to push slow into the enemy, into this close area, and turning out to be so good, right? Opening up with grenades, and now only those glow walls are the challenge that they have to face to get a little bit more kills, because 11 is not enough for them.
See what they do with this. They're surrounded on all sides by teams, essentially. But every kill they get adds to their tally, everything they need coming into the end of today. IT Official drive their way into the middle of this fight. Looks like R15 are going to grab themselves another couple of kills. They're taking out IT Official now, who maybe joined the fight a little too excitedly. Oh! That's a great shot from Garner. They're all moving around. They're actually doing incredibly well to take control of this zone, having to fight off 3 teams, essentially, as they came into this one. Making it work out very well for themselves. DN Esports, you can see, also getting involved on Navy Esports towards the north of this new zone. The big winners right now, definitely R15 Official, who have got themselves a nice area towards the south and taken out a full squad before they even got there.
Yeah, they're not moving too quickly. They're waiting until it's completely necessary. And before they have to move, they are already winning those duels and winning those fights against the enemy over and over again. I mean, they still have the potential. Absolutely insane. Over 14 kills coming in for R15. And having the only real contestant right now being DN on the other side.
Yeah. They're making it easy for themselves, I think is the best way to put it. Junior will make it a little harder. Oh, a lot harder, maybe. Actually, grabbing kills all over the place. It's 2 down, so I think now R15 down to 1 member in Gariner, who hit that great shot earlier. Things have turned ugly quite quickly for them. They're going to have to play this one a little slower now. Play for placement points. I mean, they've already got kills enough on the board that I feel like placement points are the best way of getting most value out of this game anyway. We saw DN Esports actually eliminate Navy earlier on that kill feed. Oh, Gariner made a move maybe too quick. Yep. DN Esports take advantage of that. They get 5th place. Not too bad considering how they performed for the rest of today. But now it's down to the last 3 teams with IT Official dead. It's DN Esports, Rambox Gaming, and ZRJ. They're all pushing in on each other. Rambox Gaming trying to make any position they can happen, but they're being pushed by the play zone now. Actually, 2 is eliminated by the play zone. It's just Mr. Edwin left standing. He can't move. Rambox Gaming down. DN Esports push all the way through, and ZRJ get headshot. Well, they've made it happen once again.
And right at the end too, we saw them into the mid map, taking a little bit of action, playing a little bit aggressive, but when they needed to the mills as well, that is when they find the answers. DN also taking their space, not playing too close to R15, who was absolutely popping up. We highlighted him most of the time, but DN waiting for them to get shut down before going for the last engagements, trying to surround the last team alive and getting away now with the 3rd booyah of the day. Absolutely insane. And now, if Navy was a contestant for that first spot, it's definitely not going to be anymore for DN. More points, more kills, another booyah. I mean, absolutely insane what we've seen from them. And R15 on the other side, a good amount of kills. Sure, they don't get to the top 2, if anything, but they show us that they're capable of having the high-level aggressive performance that we are expecting from them, and they need to deliver for this last chance qualifier.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good way to end the day. It's going to give them a little more confidence heading into tomorrow for sure. Because they kind of just closed that gap a little bit. It's something that they really, really needed after today. I think they were on 19 points maybe over the last 5 maps in total, and the difference between that and 4th place was around 35 points. So they needed to make a miracle happen if they wanted to catch up. So this is going to do a lot to make it a little easier on them tomorrow. Although it's still going to be a tough task, because everybody here has performed at some point, really, has got a good map or a good fight or something like this over the course of today. And especially those top kind of 6-7 teams have really, really put in a shift at some point. And I mean, that's accentuated by the fact that up until the 5th map, we didn't have any repeat winners whatsoever.
It was the end that we got to see at the beginning. Then they slowed down a little bit, but they woke up when they needed to the most for the last 2 maps and getting away with 2 extra booyahs that are going to be great for them. But like I said, everyone has had some either teams gotten different booyahs or as well teams getting really good fights, good amount of kills. That shows that anyone can make it to the top. And I think that is what we take away from today, from the first day of the last chance qualifier. Everyone is really having that potential, even though in those group stages they were in that mid-table, not really having the best results every single time. They show that when you eliminated the teams at the top and when you also eliminate the teams at the bottom, everyone looks very, very even, and only a couple differences, only a couple kills. They're really delivering the different results. So at the end, you have 21 points at the end, and everyone else looking pretty competitive. R15 that we talked about, also 21. So it's something absolutely needed from them, more than double digits, and showing that anyone can make it, anyone can deliver what is going to be needed tomorrow.
Yeah, and I mean, even ZRJ getting 18 points with a 2nd place there. They were kind of in the middle of that kind of elimination zone here, so they're going to be heading towards that top 4 after the end of that game. They'll be a lot closer than they were before, that's for sure. So really important all around for all of these mid-table teams. I think we're actually going to see the gap between 11th place and 4th place close to a matter of 1 or 2 good games at this point. So we can see Garen 8 kills, which is on par with performances from winners such as Navy and DN earlier on today. So absolutely massive from them. Junior obviously also doing the same kind of thing. Didn't win the game, came 3rd, but got 5 kills on the board for his team, and that's absolutely massive from them. But the fact that R15, who got eliminated, 5th from the end, got 2 players on that top kills board, that's really big for them. Look, they're up to 40 points now with 22 kill points. Really big for them. And you can see the gap between 11th and 4th has closed to under 30 points. That's 25 points now, which is honestly one good game.
Yeah, one good game, maybe 2 good games to make it all the way at the top, or make it a little bit more competitive for the teams in that 11th, 10th spot, if anything. But also, I mean, look at DN, 105 points that they have right now. The first one to get to those 3 digits to work with, and it's deserved, right? They get 3 booyahs, 2 of those being in a row. They're getting the kills. They're getting the right information from teams around them to know if it's worth it to go for this engagement and to try to surround the enemy, or if they're going to play for those high grounds like we saw, especially in the early map. So it's a good balance of that mental game and also the ability game that you need with your own skills, with getting the kills, with connecting those shots that DN is able to deliver. So as of right now, very, very nice. They're going to be sitting on top and maybe a little bit under them, but not so much of a consistent performance that we got to see from Navy, especially in the last 2 maps, right?
Yeah, they definitely started things off really well today. They started with a 2nd place and then a booyah, and then kind of after that, it started to fall off a little bit. Obviously, as I said earlier, towards the start of the stream, we picked up on that Navy's best map is Bermuda, and then they kind of slow down towards the end of the day, as obviously last season it was that we'd switch around the map order every day, but this time it's always Bermuda first, so they always seem to start really well, get a lot of points towards the start of the day, and then kind of slow down a little bit. But they did manage to keep up that kind of coasting towards the end of the day, finishing 90 points, not dreadful whatsoever from that team. And they'll stay within 15 points of first place as well. They still have 30 points away from that elimination zone. So they'll probably be pretty happy with today, honestly, with their performance on Kalahari. And it's all about performing really well tomorrow now.
And it's also performing in a really, really high level tomorrow for the 2 first maps that we get to see, right? If they are confident in their ability to perform in the 1st and 2nd map, then they absolutely have to do that, because if you really don't feel confident in Purgatory and you're really giving those points away, then what can you do, right? It's not as long as the group stages. It's a 1 and 2 day last chance qualifier to see who is going to move to the grand final. So if you don't have the consistency in every single map, what can you deliver to the table in the case of Navy and in the case of those teams that are only really good at 1 or 2 maps, to make sure that you're standing a chance to get to the top 4? It's not top 8, it's not top 12 anymore, it's only 4.
Yeah, it's really, really going to be close for tomorrow. I can't wait to see how teams adapt to each other's gameplay. Obviously, now they can head off, they can take a look at the VOD and see how everybody was playing, because there were definitely some patterns that I noticed in teams' play styles. Here we go. We can look at 1A Esports, who finished 4th today. Average kills of only 4, but their placement up into 5. That's incredibly high from them for the amount of kills that they got. So really, really impressive performance in terms of just, this is a different play style, isn't it? It's instead of going for a lot of kills earlier on in the game, you're looking at this kind of thing where you just kind of wait till the end of the game, and similar here with Laonu, who only got 1 booyah today, because in their play style, it's really about staying alive the whole game. And we saw how many times they went down to 1-2 players and got the rest of the team back up. And the thing is not to get kills, but just to get consistent points by getting to the end of the game. Look at this overall kills here. 2 DN Esports players right up at the top, and then flanked by some Navy and some 1A.
I was about to mention Ghost as well. It's the setup of 1A, a team that seems to be everyone very close in terms of kills and in terms of performance overall, but Ghost has to be the player that is popping off the most and in most maps, in most scenarios compared to everyone else in his team. It's, really allowing the team to be on that top 3 when it comes to overall kills into a single player, and is really giving them a chance to go a little bit farther, try to move as far as possible, try to get to the top 4. It is a player that I want to keep an eye on for tomorrow and what else he can deliver, especially if his entire team is enabling those plays and enabling him alone for success. And on the other side, a little bit more even, right? When we see Navy, when we see DN, it's more of the kills that everyone is able to get, and is the plays that everyone is putting together to make sure that the team itself is moving to the top. There's not many cases where we see Navy or we see DN that only have one player alive. It's of everyone either getting taken down very quickly or everyone making it all the way till the end.
Yeah, I mean, that wraps it up for the first day of the last chance qualifiers. Sorry, that's half of the games that we're going to get in the last chance qualifiers. Only 1 day of games left to go, 6 maps. And I mean, the competition could not be at a higher pitch right now because there's such a close gap between these. There's no time to drop behind whatsoever, no time to get too far ahead either. So every team really fighting for their position, and I cannot wait to see what they bring out tomorrow. But it is tomorrow that we'll have to resume real quick. I do just want to talk about the BTS thing that I was mentioning last week. You remember when I said something about BTS last week? I probably asked you if you liked BTS. Yeah. Well, it turns out the BTS, you can be the star now. There's a little thing in game. You can go ahead and customize, and you can earn some rewards. You can earn those skins that they made themselves. They actually drew them themselves.
Yeah.
I saw them drawing them. It's incredible.
So cool.
Amazing artists. Amazing.
Yeah.
Who knew? Amazing singers, amazing dancers, amazing drawers as well. There you go. The artists through and through.
They have everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I can never match up. What am I supposed to do when people like that exist? Anyway, that'll be it for today. It's been me and Dryad that have been taking you through the action today, but we will see you tomorrow when we'll wrap up the last chance qualifiers, see who is going to be joining our top 8 teams in the grand finals for North America. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you around.
Yeah.